At the Okoli Law Group, we specialize in producing justice. If you or a loved one in the Atlanta metro area is facing serious criminal charges, then you need serious legal representation.
The Okoli Law Group is here for you. The Okoli Law Group is here for us.
The Okoli Law Group, serious legal representation.
Navigating through this spiritual journey is challenging. Healers need healers, trainers need trainers, and leaders need leaders too. If you're looking for a space that offers Reiki healing, emotional mastery, chakra healing, and even one-on-one spiritual consultation, visit us at todayswellness.com. Get all your spiritual needs met and just have someone you can actually talk to. Because whatever it is that you are seeking is also within you.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Do me a favor, hit that like button, and please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe, guys. Again, oh, that sounds good. Shrimp etouffee. Is that how you say it? That sounds good right about now. I can use some shrimp etouffee right about now. Before we get started, guys, I'm gonna get a haircut tomorrow. Get shaved up. You know, excuse my appearance. Headed to the barbershop tomorrow. Before we get started, I got a couple of announcements. Announcement number one: we are rolling to Nigeria on Sunday. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm looking for, if any of you all are in the chat room or come to Nigeria with me, I can't wait to meet you all. I've met some of you all already because you've been on trips with me before. Shout out to Marie. Marie's been to Nigeria with me. In fact, Marie came on the first ever back in 2019 Oshun Festival 2019. Marie came on the first ever tour I ever did. And Marie, when I tell you we upgraded from that first tour, you will be proud. We have definitely upgraded Marie. Trust me, we have upgraded. So shout out to Marie. Marie, today's your birthday. Happy birthday today. If today is your birthday, but we are rolling to Nigeria on Sunday. I am looking forward to that. Then we're going to Zanzibar in September 22nd through October 1st. Then in January, we're going to the Voodoo Festival. That's going to be January 3rd to the 12th. January 3rd to the 12th, we're going to the Voodoo Festival. Then in April, we're going back to Sierra Leone. April 20th to the 29th, we're going to Sierra Leone. And then in June 1st to the 10th, we are rolling to Senegal for the Jazz Festival. Then back to Nigeria, August 3rd through the 12th. Y'all, I am looking forward to it. I will love to host all of you guys. Please visit Danfo, DANFO.Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, DANFO.Africa. We will love to have you all. But without further ado, we're going to jump into today's topic. Now, we watched the panel interview of Donald Trump at the NABJ, which is National Association of Black Journalists Convention in Chicago. I am a member of the NABJ. Sorry about that, NABJ. Now, I am a member of the NABJ. Have not been very active. I went to one meeting here in Atlanta, but because of travel, I just haven't been able to attend a lot of the meetings. But, you know, I'm going to get back active, be more active when I can. And it amazes me how there were many who protested within the organization, who protested I don't care how you feel about Donald Trump. Again, I don't care how you feel about Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, he's a former president. At the end of the day, per the polls, he has a shot at winning this upcoming election. He's a presidential candidate. So for the life of me, a group of journalists who want to censor him, it doesn't make sense. The argument of, well, the Republicans don't want to engage Diallo. I might do a separate show on that, Diallo, as far as no black males being on that panel, which is a BS. But it also might be a good thing, because when you have emotional men like Roland Martin, it was probably a good thing. Roland Martin would have been more emotional or combat. In fact, Roland Martin would have been more combative and hostile than the lady in the blue dress. So it's probably a good thing that Roland Martin, that a man wasn't on the panel. I lost my train of thought, but we coming back. We coming back. So it doesn't make sense to censor a former president. It doesn't make sense when black people complain how the Republicans don't engage them. Then you get a Republican to show up to a black convention, and you guys want to boycott it and throw a fit. I think like the vice president, she resigned from her role. We're just adult children. We want to throw temper tantrums. Then the questions asked. You could have got so much more. You have a president, a candidate, right there in front of you, and you don't want to ask the proper questions. You just want to be hostile. And I think it was a missed opportunity for the NABJ. But I like how Trump responded. I love how Trump responded. Now, I would say this, and we'll watch the video. In fact, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Let's go ahead and jump into the video or the interview. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Here we go.
I was going to buy some gym shorts that cost me $60 each, but after hearing about this $10 shorts deal, I never looked back. Shorts like...
As journalists, we use opportunities like these both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand the choices that they face in a consequential and historic election year. NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact-check this conversation in real time. You can access that feed on social media using the hashtag NABJFactCheck. Again, the hashtag is NABJFactCheck. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time. So let's bring out the former president of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump. Thank you. Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false.
Oh man, come on. You know what, Tiffany? I was going to get into that. Women, how do you feel about suits? Like, how do you feel about suits, women? Like pantsuits? Like, how do you guys? Women, how do you feel about Like, what do you know? I'm not a woman, so I'm gonna ask the women. Like, do you think pantsuits are fashionable for women, or is it like should it be a certain cut? Like, what are your thoughts about that, women? Okay, let's go. But already off top, she's being hostile and divisive. You know, um, she had to bring up how some people boycotted, or not boycotted, or upset that Trump was going to be at NABJ, which is stupid. Why would you be upset? I mean, you could be upset, but why would you protest? Like, why would you protest? Why would you want to protest a former president coming to your convention? Yeah, I like women in skirts. I don't like this pantsuit thing. But hey, do you? Do you? Do you? Yeah, the fitting. You're right. I take that back. The fitted ones are nice. You're right. The fitted ones are very nice. You do got a point there. Okay, you have a point there. See, I don't like the baggy ones. The fitted ones are nice. You do got a point there. Okay, let's continue. But already off the bat, here she comes, hostile. The elephant in the room. Oh, come on now. You're a journalist. Like, journalists don't lie. Journalists don't exaggerate it. Journalists don't exaggerate it. Black journalists don't lie and exaggerate it. There were several black journalists that were pushing that Juicy Smollett crap before they got the facts on it. There was black journalists who were pushing that Russia collusion crap. So, all right, let's continue.
Claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying
he attacks everybody, black, white, Asian. He attacks everybody. Trump attacks everybody. It's Trump. He goes after everybody. Everybody's fair game. It's not just a black thing.
and the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment,
See, what kills me is these journalists will not ask Kamala Harris what she's going to do for black people. The last time a journalist asked Kamala Harris what she's going to do for black people, you know what Kamala Harris said? If you think I'm only going to do something for black folks, no. That's what she said. Black folks got together last week and raised over $2 million for Kamala Harris and did not ask for anything in return.
including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something
Mr.
was
President,
wrong.
I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
Roast them, Trump. Roast them. Roast them. See, I don't think they were expecting Trump to respond like this, and he did. Rightfully so. Not mad at him.
answer the
Very
question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I
believe
have
that
answered
Black
the
voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President
That's
Johnson,
my
who signed the
answer.
Voting Rights
And
Act.
for you to start off a question and answer period, especially.
Now, she brought up Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson is the same person that said, I will have these N-words voting Democrat for the rest of their lives. That's what Lyndon B. Johnson said. I will have these N-words voting for Democrats for the rest of their lives. And he's partly true. He was right. He predicted it. This was just a missed opportunity. You wanted to be combative and hostile instead of asking real questions. And see, the thing, as we go deeper into this interview, what have Black people in Chicago been complaining about the most? Illegal, unchecked immigration. He brought it up. Trump brought it up. He had to pivot towards it because they didn't want to bring it up. Because she didn't want to bring it up. And I guarantee you, if she were to interview Kamala Harris, she would not bring up the immigration issue. I guarantee you she won't. See, these journalists are biased as hell, which, I get it.
When you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what you?
And see, what Trump is asking is like, define DEI. Like, how do you become a DEI hire? How does that look like? That's what Trump is asking. Like, how do you become, like, what is DEI? Like, we understand what the acronym stands for, but what is DEI? Like, what is it? That's what he's asking.
Your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So,
tired of overpaying for rent? What if we told you that you could live somewhere?
I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She is always
But you know
identified
what?
as a Black
I
woman. She went to a
respect either
historically Black
one.
college.
And what Donald Trump is doing, he's saying it out loud what people were thinking. He's saying that, was it the quiet part out loud? Is that how you guys say it? He's saying the quiet part out loud. Like we've been saying that. Is she Indian? Is she Black? She could jump in and out of Blackness. See, they brought race into the conversation. They brought it up. And now Trump is responding accordingly, and they're upset. Has Kamala ever came out publicly and called herself a black woman? I don't know. That's a good question. Find the link. Now, she ever came out and said, I'm a black woman? Can somebody post the link? However, saying, I'm Kamala Harris, I'm a black woman. Now, we have it where she's saying talking about her Indian heritage, how she's Indian.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
I really don't
have said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length. And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
Well, you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message?
Yeah, I got to stop with this. Okay, why would Kamala Harris go to HBCU if she doesn't consider herself a black person? Mr. Sandman, you do not have to be black to go to an HBCU. You do not have to be black to pledge divine eye. I don't, oh man. You don't have to be black to go to an HBCU. You don't have to be black to pledge divine eye.
Today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody.
See, we gotta stop being disingenuous. Now, Donald Trump, he didn't answer the question. I mean, he could have answered the question better, but we gotta stop being disingenuous. Illegal immigration impacts the black community the most. Period. That's facts. That's been documented. Stop playing stupid. Stop being disingenuous. Stop being bougie, like Umar Johnson said. What is a black job? Stop it. Overall, illegal immigration impacts the black community impacts the black community the most, and that includes jobs. Stop it. Hard stop. Let's stop playing bougie and acting stupid. That's just a fact. Let's continue.
That has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President,
they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the black population, is affected most by that. And Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never.
I don't see no black men doing landscaping and agriculture. It isn't a fact. All of my landscapers here in Atlanta are black. What are you talking about? They're black. All my landscapers. And you don't see them doing agriculture. Come on, stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Been a border czar like this. She's never even essentially been. She said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border czar. She's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs. And frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being very badly affected by all of the millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, many of these people are coming in from mental institutions, from prisons, from jails. They're gang members in other countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate is going down, and our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with Black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
Sure.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts, and this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single Black moms, when you look statistically. Yeah. How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the Black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, you know, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had, in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people, young Black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy it because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation is a disaster, and it's destroying.
Now, this is the meat and potatoes. Like, this is what people want to hear. This is what people want to hear right here. This is what we want. Instead of the first journalist who had a vendetta.
Destroying our country, and it's destroying the Black community probably as much or more.
So what do you do?
Than any.
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might, I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that.
There is electromagnetic energy in that pyramid between.
And he was losing very badly in the polls. And then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying, you know, let's keep going and maybe something happens the other way, they said, oh, we're going to replace him. Let's just replace him. That's like you're in a fight. A prize fighter's in a fight. He's not doing where you say, let's bring in another fighter. So our whole campaign was steered toward him. And now we have to steer it to her. But ultimately, it's the same because they have bad policy. They have policies of open borders, unbelievable open borders, horrible energy policies. They want to get rid of, as you say, gasoline in cars. They want to get rid of oil. They want to get rid of efficient heating.
Mr. President.
Environmentally, what they're doing is killing our country. They're absolutely destroying our country. But the inflation is the thing that's hurting the Black worker, the Black population, and every other population within our country. Inflation is the worst it's been, I think, in over 100 years. And they'll fact check it. They'll say it's only 58. whatever it may be. They don't add all the numbers. They don't add the really bad numbers, and you can check that too. But inflation, Harris, is absolutely destroying this country and the people in our country. Yes,
Mr. President, can I ask you another question
Yes,
that is also impacting Black Americans?
and that's very clear now. Good.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay. So Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed Black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again,
they're going to be charging the officer? I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those
well, right now, for the most part,
I mean, guys, what happened to Massey was terrible, and that police officer deserves to be in prison. But he's right. 117 people were shot, more than likely all Black, or the majority, and cops need to be able to do their job. I agree. What's the problem? Like, what's the problem? I mean, seriously, what's the problem? It's a problem. What's going on in some of our communities?
people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine
you go after somebody and it's a very close call and it's very dangerous. And you know, they have the policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing because sometimes you have less than a second to make a life and death decision. And sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly. I find it interesting because you do talk about reining in prosecutors, especially when it comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of two people that have weaponized our justice system. I've been prosecuted. I just won the big case in Florida. Everyone said that was the biggest case. That was the most difficult case. And I just won it. Now, Biden has a similar case, except much worse. I was protected under the Presidential Records Act. Biden wasn't because he wasn't president at the time. And he had 50 years worth of documents. And they ruled that he was incompetent and therefore he shouldn't stand trial. And I said, isn't that something? He's incompetent and he can't stand trial. And yet he can be president. Isn't that nice?
Mr. President,
but they released him on the basis.
No, I agree. He did not. He did drop the ball on the immunity question. He did drop the ball on the immunity question. But I understand what he's. He dropped the ball on the immunity question, but again, I get what he was saying.
That he was incompetent. They said he had no memory and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory. And so, therefore, we're not going to prosecute him. I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We covered you extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to
I
different
didn't notice
topics
you
now.
do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where I have a hostile judge.
Hold on, guys, hit that like button. If you have not hit the like button, you need to hit that like button. Hit the like button. If you have not hit the like button, please hit the like button. Come on now, hit that like button, guys. Guys, hit the like button.
We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different topics.
Excuse you, you're the one that held me up at 35 minutes, just so you understand.
If we can move on now to the state of the race, sir, I want to get back to the campaign. Senator JD Vance is your running mate. He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. He's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children. Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate? And do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family oriented and he thinks family is a great thing. That doesn't mean he thinks that if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking about families here. He also says that people that don't have children should get less votes than those that do.
I'm just speaking for myself.
Is that your campaign position?
I'm speaking for him too.
I'm a 27-year-old transgender woman, Miami Wolf-therian, and a member of the furry fandom.
When and how did you?
This is Biden's America.
Probably around age 10 or 11.
Guys, this is Biden's America right here. And it's okay if you want to dress up. If you're a man, if you want to dress up as a woman, hey, that's your prerogative. But you're not a woman. You are not a woman. This is Biden's and Kamala's America right here. And y'all, I'm not being disrespectful. Again, if you're a man, if you want to dress up like a woman, that is your prerogative. Listen, I respect you. I still love the humanity in you. But you're a man. You're not a woman. This is Biden. This is Biden's and Kamala's America right here. I'm just saying. Much respect to the young man, but come on. We're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch this commercial.
11. I was watching an anime about wolves and see the wolf running across the screen, and I'm somehow just intrinsically like, oh, that's me.
Have you spent any time around biological wolves?
Yes.
That sounds dangerous also. What context are you?
So I was a volunteer with a preserve, and I've also visited many wolf preserves.
Are you able to communicate with the wolves?
Am I going to have a conversation with a wolf in the way that I'm communicating you and I? Obviously not. Am I going to read their body language, respond appropriately to their behaviors and their nonverbal cues? Yes.
Would you be able to give us an example of this wolf communication?
No. I'm not comfortable doing so.
Okay.
There you go.
He strongly believes in family, but I know people with great families. I know people with not great families that don't have a family. And the people without the family are far better. They're superior in many cases, okay? He's not saying they're not. What he's saying is that he thinks the family experience is a very important thing. It's a very good thing. But that doesn't mean that if you grow up and you grow older and you don't meet somebody that would be wonderful to meet and would have been good, that's a bad thing. He's not saying that. My interpretation, you'll have to ask him actually, but my interpretation is he's strongly family oriented, but that doesn't mean if you don't have a family, there's something wrong with it.
Just one last point and then we'll move on. Just one of the bedrock principles of American life is one person, one vote. Senator JD Vance has suggested that someone who has children should have more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something I have ever heard before. I can tell you this. Right now, you have illegal aliens coming into our country, many from prisons and many from mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally, and they're taking the vote away from all of the people in this room that have been here a long time, that have worked hard, that in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happen. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening a long time. You're going to see the people in this room and people outside of this room are going to be losing their jobs to people that have come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of the race right now? Because I felt like that vice president question, candidate question was right in there with that. So let's talk about JD Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Why did you choose JD Vance?
Why
did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing too.
I chose him
everybody
because,
out there can, but it's hard
I'll tell
to
you
hear.
why. I chose him because he's a very strong believer in work and the working man and woman, and especially the working man and woman who have been treated very unfairly, because you have many of them in this room. But you have many of those people, they were treated very unfairly. They worked very hard and they were treated unfairly. He wrote the book that became a bestseller. The movie became a smash hit. He's a very smart guy without the benefit of having a family that has contacts, like a father that was well connected. He got into Yale Law School. He graduated in 2 years from Ohio State, summa cum laude. I mean, you take a look at, his career has been an amazing career. He started off at a level with a...
6 years ago, I had it all. 2 years later, I lost everything.
A difficult family situation, very difficult with the mother and the father and everything else. He ends up going to Yale Law School and was one of the top students, became the head of the law journal. I mean, that's an amazing thing. He's a 4-year, he was in the military with great distinction for 4 years, got out, went into business, became successful in business, very successful in business, actually, did public offerings and other things. And I have to believe in that. I mean, he's somebody that was born in a rough situation. Most of the people know that situation because it was very well documented in his book. And I have a lot of respect for somebody that can get into Yale and become one of the best students in Yale, that meets a young woman at Yale who was also outstanding, and they get married, they have a beautiful family, but he had he's made himself an amazing life. He then goes to Ohio, lives in Ohio, and he had my endorsement. That helped. But he wins the Senate. He becomes a United States Senator. So he's a United States Senator. And so, Harris, like I respect you for your success, I respect people for their success.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day that you were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And
I'm
2 days
sorry.
after that,
I cannot understand your microphone.
I know
is so
it is
muffled.
really hard for me
I
to
mean, it's
understand
just
you too.
I can understand you perfectly.
Here's
Whoa.
just closer.
I can understand you,
Happy to hear that, sir.
but I can't
Really happy to hear
understand
that.
Harris.
I have a few more questions.
Because of the distance, and the mics are really in lousy shape, but I cannot understand
So,
what you're saying.
So what I wanted to say was the last time we spoke, you said some words that were prophetic because I asked you who you wanted to choose for vice president.
Yeah.
And you said normally it really wouldn't matter what they would bring, you choose somebody that you think has a future, that sort of thing. But you said these words 3.5 hours before an attempted assassination on your life. You told me that bad things happen, Harris, and that's why this decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at JD Vance, is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other candidates too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. historically, the vice president in terms of the election does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be. And then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons of what we're talking about, not for vote reasons, but for political reasons, other political reasons. But historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think JD is. I think that all of them would have been, but you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me. If you like me, I'm going to win. If you don't like me, I'm not going to win.
I'm going to get my JD Vance question in.
JD Vance?
I'm going to get my JD Vance question in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he, has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, well, I mean, my point is here.
But at least it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the Republican Party is getting a little bit too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what JD Vance is saying?
I don't think, look, I think that the Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing the death. They're allowing the death of a baby after the baby is born, based on the governor of Virginia. Based on the governor of Virginia, they're allowing the death of the baby after it's born. They're allowing abortions in the 8th and 9th month.
Well, Democrats have denied.
I think they're right. And I think the Republican Party is actually much less. I think I've made them much less radical, perhaps. But the Republican Party, what we're doing is bringing it back to the states where everybody wanted it. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted abortion brought back. They didn't want Roe v. Wade in the federal government. They wanted it, everybody.
But the majority of Americans oppose Roe v. Wade being overturned.
They don't know about this. Right now, they're voting. It brought it back to the states. Now, I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Ronald Reagan believed with rape, incest, life of the mother. I do. I think most people do. I think most Republicans do also. But if you take a look, right now they're doing, it's an amazing thing, out of the federal government, it's in states, and people are voting. And I will say, Ohio is, let's call it a more liberal version, has been approved. Kansas, the same thing, a little bit surprising to a lot of people. But the people are now voting, and it's taking this issue that's been going on for 52 years and has torn our country apart, and it's giving it to the people to vote on. And they're voting. And many states have already voted. Others are in the process of voting. And it's bringing it back to the people and a vote of the people. And it's not at all radical. And again, you have to follow your heart. I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Most people believe in the 3 exceptions. Most Republicans believe in the exceptions. But they don't want to see an abortion in the 9th month or the 8th month. Almost everybody agrees to that. And they certainly don't want to see, in the case of the governor of Virginia, the former governor, I might add, who said, we set the baby aside and then we decide what to do. Meaning, what do? We execute the baby. That's a radical, horrible position. And some people want that. I don't want it. Most people don't.
Thank you. Can I just pivot really quickly to another question about, you brought up health, Harris. You're an active man. We see you golfing all the time, but if you win, you'll still be president at 82, which is older than Biden is right now.
But not mentally. Look, mentally.
Here's the question.
He's shot. But most people, I know many people in their 80s and their 90s that are in great shape. Some of our greatest leaders. You look at throughout the world history, the greatest leaders, some of the greatest leaders in the world were in their 80s.
But here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if you felt that your health was declining? Or would you?
Oh, absolutely.
And who would
I think I'd know.
How would you make that decision?
I think I'd know. Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated
Oh my
me,
goodness.
and I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude. That wasn't a question. She didn't ask me a question. She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated your statement, sir, actually.
You said you would. You would.
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If
to
I
step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way, I want people to be sharp. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test, to take a cognitive test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Well,
I took 2 of them. But let me ask you, I would like to have people running for president, and I don't mean because they're 75 or 85. I think anybody running, I'd like to do it. People say it's not constitutional. I would like to have something passed where you can do it. I think we should know. I mean, I've watched what's happened.
If you've entered the chat room, if you have not hit the like button, please hit that like button again, guys. It does not take much to click that like button. Thank you. Please hit that like button. And Big Bad Kahuna 1, thank you for the super chat. Trump is handling this pretty damn good. I agree.
In the last couple of years under this gentleman, and our country is a mess. We have inflation. We have the millions of people falling in. We have Afghanistan, which was the worst, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. What he has done to our country, and her too, what they've done to our country, she has been a horrible vice president. She's considered the worst vice president in the history of our country.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but would you consider taking the cognitive test?
Mr. President,
I would love to
and
do
make
it.
it public.
Well, I've already taken 2 of them, but I'll do it again.
Mr. President, how do you intend to...
I suggested, Harris, that let's take one. I said, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now, I'd do it with her too.
1978. We were the hottest pleasure palace in Miami. The cocaine war stopped at our entrance.
I would do it with her also. You know what? She failed her law exam. She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she wouldn't pass the cognitive test.
Mr. President, are you saying she wouldn't pass? Just to be clear,
I'm just giving you the fact.
To be clear, you don't think
How
Harris...
do you intend? She didn't pass her bar exam, and she didn't think she would pass it, and she didn't think she was going to ever pass it. And I don't know what happened. Maybe she passed it.
She did pass it.
There's a man over here. I think he must work.
Mr. President, I would love to ask you about January 6th. You've called yourself the candidate of law and order.
Yeah.
When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones. At least one officer lost an eye. One had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs. Another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day. Like about 5 days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying.
Guys, he's so when Bibi Netanyahu, when he came from Israel to DC to the Capitol, the pro-Palestine protesters pulled up to the Capitol, and I understand Trump's point, and no one's bringing it up. They bum rushed the Capitol. They were in the Capitol. They were vandalizing monuments and buildings, but no one's saying anything. So I understand where Trump's coming from here.
These incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint, red spray paint that will never actually come off, especially in the limestone. It will never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to
my
the people
question is
that
on
tried
those
to
rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon those
What's going to happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system. They were. How come the people that tried to burn down Minneapolis? How come the people that took over a large percentage of Seattle, how come nothing happened to them? How come the people
sir, we're talking about people that were seen beating officers with flagpoles, dragging them down the stairs. They're on video. Have you seen that video, sir?
Oh, really? Well,
you would pardon those. You would pardon those rioters?
They shot a young lady in the face who was protesting. They shot her in the face. You know, nobody died that day. You do know that. But people died in Seattle. Nobody died, but people died in
140
Minneapolis.
officers
Do you know
were
people died in
assaulted that
Minneapolis?
day.
And nothing happens, and nobody ever talks, and nothing happens to those people. But you went after the J6 people with a vengeance. And
Now, and I understand where Trump is coming from. So during the summer of rage, and I keep bringing this up, the summer of rage, communities here in Atlanta, Seattle, communities in the West Coast were burnt down, mass riots, mass looting. No one has anything to say about it, but when these white folks went to the Capitol building, people act like they were scared and concerned. So I get where he's coming from. And the same thing what happened last week with the Palestine protesters when they bum rushed the Capitol building, and no one's saying anything about it.
I'll tell you what about the cops that were, and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go in, go in, go in. What about that? Look, nothing is perfect in life, but you have people from Minneapolis, you have people just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C. They were having fist fights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying. They were desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems of justice. That's why they went after me as a political opponent, because they felt they couldn't win without doing that. And we're going to win our cases and we're going to be vindicated. But I have to spend a lot of time on that and money. That's what they want. After the election, they won't care. Although in my case, I think they probably will, because the hatred is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before. And it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
What do you do on day one if you win? What's your first thing?
What do? I close the border. And I do two things, because I can do a lot of things simultaneously. I close the border. We don't want people coming. We want people to come in, Harris, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. They have to come in legally. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. So when you say, what do? That, and I drill, baby, drill. I bring energy way down. I bring interest rates down. I bring inflation way down, so people can buy bacon again, so people can buy a ham sandwich again, so that people can go to a restaurant and afford it. Because right now, people can't buy food. Your grocery bills are up 40, 50, 60%, right? She's agreeing to me. Oh, she's agreeing. Thank you. I like you very much.
I think we are.
But it's true. Your grocery bills are up. And then they're mandating that you buy an all-electric car. You know, Elon Musk endorsed me, and he's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. But I'm against everybody having an electric car, okay? I'm very much against that. You have to be able to, if you want a hybrid or if you want a gasoline-propelled car. But, you know, we have more liquid gold, gasoline, oil, under our feet than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than any other country. I want to use it. I want to use what we have. I want to bring down prices, bring down costs, and I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people coming in are taking your jobs.
Project 2025.
I think we have to leave it there by the Trump team.
All right.
So leave it. That is the last word. Thank you so much, Mr. Trump, for coming today and joining us.
Well, thank you very much.
They've been telling us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Great
Thank
honor.
you, Mr. President.
Black Line, go ahead. Black Line, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I recently saw the interview, and to be bluntly honest, that was a disgrace. That wasn't even funny. A lot of us were asking is like, you guys are not asking real serious, logical, political questions for the black community whatsoever. All it was literally just emotional, fear tactic type of questions. You guys didn't ask respectful, serious political questions at all. And the thing is, the question they asked them, they felt pretty personal. It wasn't even. It was hardly even logical, because a lot of us were asking, where are the black male journalists that could ask them some serious questions? why you guys ask him about like real serious questions?
You know what, Black Lion. I'm gonna say there aren't any serious black. Well, let me take that back. Let me take that back.
Go ahead.
I think I don't think we would have gotten anything like the black journalists they would have chose to interview Donald Trump. It probably would have been worse. Just look how, like Roland Martin, for example, it would have been worse. But go ahead.
No, you're not wrong. Like I said, I wish there were at least some decent black journalists, regardless of political party, asking some logical, serious questions. But that was a disgrace. I understand Trump did fall back a few times, but in a lot of the times, when they asked him some serious questions, they didn't say he was wrong whatsoever. He didn't. Like, am I wrong, guys? Did they say he was wrong about anything?
I think she was trying to question him on the whole baby, the 9-month abortion. I think they were trying to push back on that.
Exactly. That's when they were talking about those kind of questions. It's like that's why it's like to a certain degree, not to be rude, but this is why sometimes like there's some questions. I think sometimes with women they'll get too much in emotions to understand the harsh answers of the reality of those situations, and like it was just bad overall. Like one thing, like he wasn't wrong on a lot of things, like the immigrant issue. That is a big issue, and unfortunately, I still live in California, and it's a big issue in our state alone. He talked about the economics of lack of black jobs. Like he's not wrong about that. He talked about Kamala being more Indian than black. He wasn't wrong about that. He wasn't wrong in a lot of cases, and it's like I don't hear you guys saying that he was wrong in a lot of the shit in all the answers he was giving. Yes, he was wrong. Right me wrong on some things, or maybe tiptoe, but the majority he was right most of the time. And it's like put your political party aside as Democrat or Republicans. Like, listen, he's not wrong about the issues going on in America right now. And it's like it was to excuse my language, but it was a shit show. It could have been done so much more better, so much more professional. It could have done it could have been a lot more respectful conversation to the point where he would have actually like it's like, okay, I guess I might not like his party or might not like him personally, but I can understand where he's coming from. I can understand what he's talking about. I wish Trump was a little more factual, like the statistics and data to add to his point. I wish he was, but I wish they were a little mature enough to actually, I'm like, okay, let me just, instead of just attacking with emotional questions that might affect me as a woman or as a black woman, let me see if he's saying is wrong. And then if he's not getting more information about it, I'll do research myself. Like, you're not wrong. But those type of interviewers, they did not have the maturity to at least like give it a chance. Not say kiss his ass, just a respectful way to at least try to understand. Okay, I can say why he's saying the way he's saying. And it could have been so much more better, but a lot of times he wasn't wrong. It's like I just wish there was more logical questions and less emotional questions, and not these questions that come out of this mental fear they have because of what the supposed oncoming doom if he's president. But yeah.
All right, go ahead, E-Man. E-Man, unmute yourself, E-Man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dynast.
No problem.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of good points there, Black Lion. When it comes to a lot of these black women who are part of the liberal Democratic Party, you know, a lot of those questions that the female in the blue asked, they're just geared towards their feelings, okay? Not any real critical questions. Thank God there are, other, logical speaking black women that were on there. But this was just an embarrassment, okay? Regardless of how you feel about Trump, you may call him a racist and all this other stuff, although I have seen nothing to define him as a racist, not saying that he hasn't done anything in the past, but this was just, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And this is why we, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of black men on panels because, on the television, I'm sure he would have got more critical questions, that's not based upon his feelings.
The E-Man, I disagree, because I mean, we got black men like Roland Martin.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, Roland Martin, Don Lemon, Bakari Sellers. I mean, what questions would have asked any differently?
I'm referring to men like us here on this panel, not them.
You know they ain't gonna do that. You know they're not.
Yeah, because otherwise you're gonna get questions based upon feelings. I mean, that was just terrible, and I'm glad that he crushed her. And he didn't yell, he didn't scream, he didn't do anything like that. He just broke her down intelligently, like how you're supposed to do. It was a complete embarrassment. It got better toward the end, but I don't know. The crowd should have been different, but that's what Trump got, and he handled himself, with intelligence, and how any person should conduct themselves. It was very rude for that sister to be asking those questions, talking at this man, talking at him, regardless of how you feel about him. I mean, have a real discussion, bring up real topics that other people can engage in. Don't just have these things based upon your feelings. And that's what the Democratic Liberal Party does. We want to cater to you women. We want to you guys be the voice of us, which is a really bad thing, but I'm not going to dominate the conversation. I'll allow somebody else to go.
All right, total to rally passport escape markers. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's Terrell and shit. But I just go by escape because I don't know, people start calling me that. But anyway, greetings and thank you for allowing me up, brother. Man, great show, great topic. Man, it was just really I can tell you like this, they thought that they were gonna get him. They thought that they could have a gotcha moment, that he would back down, and maybe they don't understand that Donald Trump has been dealing with black folks for a long time, that he's from New York. Okay, dad from New York, cut their teeth in New York. Maybe they forgot about Trump's palace, Mike Tyson. Like, what I'm talking about, like, Donald Trump has an extended history with black celebrities. Like, he's in videos, he's in movies, 80s. You know what I'm saying? All through the 80s
Gave
and
Mike
90s.
Tyson $1 million when he came out of prison. Sorry to cut you off, brother.
Yeah, so these sisters don't really understand that he know y'all. He know how y'all operate. And he ain't gonna let no woman dictate to him like that. Like, for real, like, I would have been surprised if he would have said like what Mike Tyson say. I only interview women after I have them for the night. I wouldn't have been surprised, because they really thought that they were gonna set him up and dominate him. And he said, no, first of all, y'all got to get y'all mics right. You showed up late, boo-boo. You wasted my time. You're lucky to have me here. Whew! I'm talking about, they thought it was going to be a smoke show, but they got smoked. That man cooked them. And then, like you said, the other brother, the first brother to speak, when he said they just care about their birthing rights. So I want to be able to get rid of a baby whenever I want to get rid of a baby, which most of the women are too old to even have kids. So let's be real. I want to have the right to be a streetwalker and then just be a traditional lady and trick some simp later on. Man, come on, man.
Yes, sir. All right, go ahead, T. Khalid.
Yeah, man. What I found interesting is what Donald Trump said, that a lot of black, our quote unquote black mainstream political talking heads wouldn't say. And he talked about how Kamala Harris was playing Indian until she ran in 2020, and that is absolutely correct. And the fact that, I mean, he just said it so casually. He was like, I didn't even know she was black until 2020. That should be a wake-up call for African Americans. Now, You know, I'm looking at the media coverage of it, and of course, they're calling him a liar. They're saying that she was in a sorority of things of that nature. But Kamala Harris has never really came out and expressed her racial, you know, that she's an African American. And I think you brought up an
No,
article showing.
but T, she's not even African American.
Yeah. Well, black has some African and, you know, just African in general. You know, and you even posted an article showing that when she won, why did it say the first Indian American? Why did it say that? That was a selective choice of her to call herself an Indian. And this is a major topic in our community. This is why a lot of black people were in shock and a lot of black people were supportive of it. And also, just to piggyback what the previous brother said about Democrat talking points, I believe this interview took place in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Or Illinois. Why was there not a single question about what's going on with black folks and the immigrants? There was no immigrant question. Like this is, you know, this is crazy. This is supposed to be some black journalists. You talk to black people in Chicago, they are fed up with the immigrant question. Yet that question wasn't asked. It was about what abortion. You know what, bro? I don't even know. Like, I'm pretty sure all of us talk to black women. I don't really know too many black women who's just really talking about abortion like that. You know, these are white liberals in black skin just repeating garbage that none of this affects the black community. And lastly, like I said yesterday, there was no black men up there to question him. And I think that was completely intentional to show that who makes up the black political populace is black women.
Yes, sir. And exactly. So my question to you, brother, was what community? Because as far as I know, they let us know that with Ice Cube when they said, what about black women? What about black women? What about black women? And he said, you black people, right?
Ice Cube should have even taken that question seriously. He should have just straight up ignored, you know, because you're right. When Ice Cube failed at is when he said, okay, I'm going to add something extra about black women. I thought that was BS. I would have told them sisters to kick rocks. I'm not writing nothing extra about no black women. When I say black people, that's what I mean. I don't have to add no extra addendum to you. No. That's what black men, you know, and this is the problem. Like I said, I totally agree with Ice Cube, but I feel like a lot of black men, especially in the celebrity world, are really not equipped to handle feminists. Like what they're not understanding is that these are feminist strands attacking them. This is liberal feminism, and I don't quite think they understand how to respond. So they're thinking that these black women are talking from a black woman perspective. No. They are talking from a white liberal feminist perspective and painted in black skin. That is all that is. And they need to be promptly ignored and not taken seriously.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Sandman.
I agree with that.
Hey, what's up? Thank you for letting me on. Yeah, that interview was very disappointing and a missed opportunity for the black community or black Americans in the United States to get some legitimate information on who to vote for in this coming election. You know, I don't know. I don't recall a Republican candidate in quite some time, you know, coming directly to the African American space to speak to us. And I don't blame it entirely on those female black journalists. I kind of blame this. I blame this on capitalism, because clearly those female journalists were paid off by some liberal media outlets and probably the Democratic Party to vilify Donald Trump on air, so everybody can see that, you know, he's not a good candidate for black people. They didn't, you know, give him any legitimate talking points that.
Yeah, we lost them. Guys, links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. Guys, if you have not hit that like button, please hit that like button. Again, if you have not hit that like button, please hit that like button. Let me read these super chats real quick. Big Bad Kahuna. Trump is handling this pretty damn good. Big Bad Kahuna. That's it. Big Bad Kahuna. You have the man that basically will run the world, and you can't ask him better questions. Big Bad Kahuna. She came out rude from the beginning.
Yeah, you know what else is interesting, man, and this is like kind of crazy on our community. So Kamala Harris didn't even show up, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's frustrating, but it's true. She probably doesn't have to show up because what Black people need to understand is that the Democrats already feel like they have our vote. So that's why they could be all nonchalant with us. They don't have to come up to any of our events. I promise you, if that was a small head event, Kamala Harris would be there because she knows that there's power there. And this is what Black people got to understand, especially the ones in the comment section. Because you are blue, no matter who, this is why you are ignored effectively. The Democrats know they got you, so they don't have to do anything for you. The most that they'll do is entertain you by bringing Megan Thee Stallion to one of their rallies to get you dancing. But other than that, they're not going to formulate any policy. And you know what I found that was interesting that Tariq Nasheed said today is that he believes that if the Black community was serious and spoke with Trump, we can actually get something tangible out of Trump because Trump is willing to talk to us and Trump is a businessman. And also, as a businessman, if you can get something tangible that helps the community, it's quid pro quo. He can brag about whatever he done for Black people, but then Black people can actually get something tangible from it. But like I said, our community doesn't seem to be intellectually aware or intelligent enough to even have this conversation with Donald Trump to at least extract something tangible. And this is why, we are being ignored by the left and we're also being ignored by the right. But I do think uniquely Trump would do something specifically if we came to him with the tangible.
And this is why they had a panel full of women on there, because they know that, a lot of these modern day sisters have a thought process that's, think white, act white. And, this is what we got.
Man, let me tell you. Can I jump in?
Okay.
Go ahead, brother. You got it.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, it's very clear. Listen, most of these politicians know they got it down. They know that most women want everything for free, regardless. Especially Black women. They want you promising this. Oh, I'll get rid of your student loans since you're you guys have the most college degrees and you're the most educated. I can't even say that with a straight face. You're the most educated women on the planet, right? But last pick, y'all gentlemen, it's so easy to satisfy them. Give them crabs, give them weave, give them a check, right? And they'll go away. And you can guarantee again, like she said, like Lyndon B. Johnson. Yes, you'll vote Democrat for the rest of your life. Come on now.
Well, let me be specific what Lyndon B. Johnson said. I will have these N-words voting Democrat for the rest of their lives. That's what he said.
Yep.
That's what Lyndon B. Johnson, the N-word with the hard ER.
The hard R, huh? Hey,
and when Trump went on that panel, he knew what type of questions he was going to get. He knows that a lot of these women have been indoctrinated and engineered by the government, so he knew that he was going to be attacked.
Hey guys, 1 second. I agree with Tiff, and I said this before. I agree with Tiff XYZ too. I can't name one Black journalist in that room that would have handled it better. In fact, I'll say this: Roland Martin, the other dude that has Undisputed with the Young Turks, it would have been worse. It would have been worse.
Yeah, man, I agree, and we have to understand. Although the women are emotional,
hold on, Mike, they would have been more confrontational, more emotional than the women. So Tiff, you're right. So when people keep bringing, and I was saying the same thing yesterday, why aren't any Black men on this panel? But then I had to step back. I'm like, if Roland Martin was up there along with the girl in the blue dress, it would have been just complete chaos. And not because of the women, because of the man Roland Martin, because he's just emotional.
Yeah, and you know what? I am going to have to agree with that because, I think Roland Martin, to be honest, would probably be worse than all of the women up there. I have never seen Roland Martin conduct himself effectively in an interview. And, it just goes along the thing we were saying about how Black men are they're just too passive, don't know much or just fall in line or just very emotional because yeah, it it's in a man's nature to be able to put his emotions to the side and have logical and intelligent conversations. But the unfortunately the black men who are quote unquote supposedly supposed to be representing us, especially I would say this is mostly the liberal, they're all emotional, man. Every last one of them. I mean, this is why you're always seeing Van Jones crying. I mean, he cried when Biden stepped down and endorsed Kamala,
Oh my
saying,
God, are you
"This man
serious?
put the country first." Yeah, talking about Biden put the country first. I mean, these are the black men that are supposed to be representing us. And yeah, but you know what? The MBJ, and like I said, I know no one here is Tariq Nasheed fans, and I'm not a fan of his either, but I am an objective listener. I listen to people objectively. I would have, he was on the list. Like they had some people who could have been objective that would have came with more. Okay, what are you doing for the black community? Maybe extracted a tangible. But like I said, they put three liberal women. Well, Harris Faulkner is conservative, but whatever. But yeah, it was just a failure in my opinion. And the reason why the black man comment was brought up is it wasn't to anything that we would have been done better, but it just kind of shows how black men are kind of pushed out by the Democrats. Are pretty much telling black men, "F you, we are riding with the women."
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fine. I'm riding on
I
the.
also want to piggyback on.
Okay, go ahead, Black Lion. I'm gonna pass it to Elvis. Go ahead, Black Lion.
Yeah, sure. Just real quick. I actually want to piggyback on what T. Khalik said to a serious degree because, like I said before, that interview was a disgrace. It could have been done so much more better with better questions. But one thing I like what he said, though, I want to piggyback what he says was the fact that a lot of them, those weren't black women. I agree. Those were not black women. Those are literally white women and black skin. Seriously. And there was an interview on I Never Knew TV on YouTube. You guys can watch it. The brother was interviewing Dr. Professor J. Smalls. He's a black scholar, a historical Pan-African black scholar. Even he said, and he's been through the 60s, the feminist movement, the civil rights. He met Malcolm X when he was 10. But even he said in modern times today of white supremacy, he said himself, he said black women are the best tool for white supremacy in today's modern time. He bluntly said this. And he even knows as a black scholar of what black people should do, even he knows his own daughters, for example. Like he knows the white supremacy from head to toe. But even he knows his black daughters, for example, he want to say it, but even he was ashamed to a certain degree. Like how his daughters still work, or they notice how they still want to be his daughters who graduate from college and everything, they still want to be accepted by who still are looking for that white liberal mentality, like they still want to be accepted. They still want to be white just like them. They still want to be accepted. They still want to be, they don't have a mind of their own. Even he had to make his own children, his own daughters, his own black daughters particularly.
Hey, Black Lion, let me pass it to Elvis. Go ahead, Elvis.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dinus. Look, I don't, we should not confuse boldness with rudeness. There's objective journalism. There are people who ask for receipts, people who are confrontational. So I don't think it was rude to ask him the questions that they did. They didn't insinuate anything. They used his previous utterances and asked him to confirm or deny what he meant by those utterances. When I come on this panel, I hear a lot of black men, they're quick to disparage black women. That trope that black women are this, they're that. Somebody saying they're not black women, they're white women in black face. I think there's a passport bro who has quickly run to the trope of disparaging black women. Look, manly men don't compete with their women. They elevate them, they support them. And the reality is these are journalists. Their
Do you
ultimate
follow
goal,
them?
one second. Their ultimate goal is to ask the hard pressing questions and allow the interviewee to answer those questions, and give clarity. So when people come here and attack these women and call them all kinds of names, they're only doing their jobs. good journalists like the Mehdi Hassan. Maybe you can put a Piers
Bro,
Morgan
you are funny,
or
bro.
other
Dude, good
journalists
journalists
who
will
ask
ask
tough
questions
questions.
in regards to the
One,
entire black people,
one,
not
one,
just the
one,
black
one sec,
women.
1 second, please. So we should
This
applaud
guy.
these women for asking the tough questions. And like you have said, Donald Trump handled it pretty well. He answered the questions. He kind of, obfuscated some of those answers and went to, on a tangent on different things. But I think they handled themselves well, and other journalists would be proud of them. Not
Damn, I
because
gotta
they're
go get some
black
coffee.
women, not because they're
What was
black
one of
women.
the tough questions that one of them women asked, in your opinion? What was one of the tough questions that they asked Trump?
E-man, please let me make my point. You can come in after I'm done.
Well, I just asked you a question. That's it.
No, no, no. My point here is they asked the questions. They didn't
Which
call him
one?
any name. Hold on, my friend. This is not a confrontation between you and myself. They asked him the questions. They didn't have any ad hominems. They asked him to confirm or deny his previous comments. He said what he had to say, and that was it. There was no disrespect. They didn't call him out of his name like you guys are doing here on this panel. So for me, I'm just perplexed by it. It's a continuous issue on on this platform. And Dennis, I think you have to step in unless you endorse some of these comments that's being made about black women, who we should see as our mothers, our sisters, our wives, or our girlfriends, and we
Are kings?
continuously.
Are kings? Are they our kings?
I didn't say that. I don't know why you're so triggered by it, man. I mean, it's
Oh
it's
no.
it's telling
No, no,
that
no,
you
no. It's
guys hate
telling. No, 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 no.
to the
You're
point
telling.
where
No, no,
every
you're
I
telling.
don't
opportunity
worry
Let him
about
finish.
black
you
Let him
women like
finish.
get,
that,
Let
you
him
bro. I don't
finish.
know why
disparage
you keep
them.
doing that.
You disparage them. I was listening. That's why I even called back in because it's just embarrassing to hear. And you guys consider yourselves to be alpha males
I got
or
to
tough
talk next
guys
on this,
I,
who
man.
Okay,
I
get
never called myself
triggered
my
alpha
question
male.
to
whenever
you,
a
what
black
was
woman
Guys,
is
one of the
elevated.
questions?
It's
Mike,
embarrassing.
hold on.
I'll pass the
What was
mic,
one of the
Donis.
questions?
Mike. Let Elvis finish, and then you guys can respond.
Yeah, I'll pass the mic, Donis. It's not even a argument. I'll pass the mic.
I mean, he was going
Elvis,
for 5 minutes.
I'm just saying, what was one of the questions that one of the sisters up there said that you felt that was, that was a good question? What was one of them? You haven't named one. What was something good that they asked Trump?
Elvis, you're gonna mute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna engage with this guy. These guys
Okay,
they hate.
because you know you're fronting, bro.
Elvis.
Because you
Yeah, I'm
can't.
not gonna engage with them.
Because
Okay.
you can't. Yeah. And
But
and none
Elvis,
of us co-
hold on,
and none of us hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
one mic. But Elvis, usually when you call in, you engage. You don't want to engage anymore.
They
No,
had to
Donis,
ask
I'm
him a
I'm
serious
I'm
question.
I'm
Name one.
disheartened by the continuous disrespect of
Oh,
black
so
women
you in here like a
on this
woman and your
platform.
feelings are hurt, right?
No, I'm just disappointed in black
Okay, let's
men that
dialogue
they're
then, brother.
triggered by the elevation of women. I
Nobody's
mean,
triggered by that.
especially black women. You guys came on this panel. I think the passport bro, who you said he changed his name because he doesn't want to be referred to as a passport bro. I heard E-Man. I heard Black Lion saying that black women are not those black women are not really black. They're white women in blackface. There's another guy that talk about black women only want weave or something stupid that he said. And I just don't
Bro, I
understand it.
said
These
the
women
black
did
women in
nothing to
blackface, and
provoke
yes,
you.
I am going to respond to that.
These women did nothing to provoke your
I always
ire.
call Negro liberals who repeat CNN talking points, MSNBC talking points, and then
Look, the
come push
idea
that
that you think
garbage
these
on
women
black
do not
people.
have the
Hold on,
intellectual
bro. Because
agency
I
to
just
think
don't
for
talk about
themselves
women. I
and
talk
ask
about both
questions
genders
that
equally. So
pertains
I
to
don't know what you're
them
talking about.
is
No, hold on.
perplexing.
I talk about how these Negro
These are
liberals are
educated,
repeating white
intellectual
liberal
women
talking
who have
points
their
to
own
black people.
agency
That's
and
why
can
we
Okay,
ask
say
okay,
questions that
they are
pertains
white
to
intellectual.
folks
them.
You
and
can't come
black
Why
off
are you
of
skin.
triggered
It's
by
anything
that?
not
that
a
they
gender
said that you
issue.
like.
It's not a gender issue. Roland Martin and you to a certain extent, because you yourself came over here and got colonized. You over here repeating that trans women are women. You are repeating white liberal talking points and then try to beat it over the head on black people. So yes, I would say the same thing to you. You are a white liberal in black skin. It has nothing to do with gender. Nothing to do with gender. It's just your ideological talking points. You're not saying anything
You're not
Weak
saying shit.
intelligent that I
people
can't
with
see
weak
on
intellect
MSNBC
runs to
or
ad
CNN.
hominems
That's
quickly.
it. No,
And T. Khalik,
but
I
no,
know you're
I'm
slow, bro. I'm
responding
not
to
even
the
trying to
black
engage
woman
in the name
in
calling.
their
So,
skin who is white.
One mic, hold on. One mic. T didn't.
Because, bro,
Well, T, hold on. T, hold on.
yeah,
Calm down. But Elvis, he didn't say ad hominem attack. You do sound like
didn't.
you do sound like a white liberal woman. I mean, you
And you
did say
still,
that, you did hold on. You did say that you have no problem with men playing in female sports, which is just odd.
you know what? Do you know what an ad hominem is, Donis?
I'm very
It's
aware.
a fancy name for. It's a fancy word for name calling,
He
and
didn't
that's
name
what he's doing.
Oh,
He's name
Elvis, I
calling.
just gave you an
He's calling me a
example.
white
Elvis,
woman.
No,
I'm
no,
stating my points, and these
You
guys
play,
run
you,
straight to
Elvis is
name
not
calling.
understanding.
listen,
I didn't call
every
you no names.
That's what
what
it
was
is.
one of the critical
Elvis,
These
I
questions
are weak
that
men
explained
that
who are
white
was
triggered by
person
presented
in
strong
black
here?
women.
skin comment.
no. Nobody is upset, Elvis. It's just again. He said you sound like I'll give you a prime example. Stacey Abrams, when she ran for governor in 2021, I don't know what happened, but she just turned into the most white, cringe, liberal woman when you listen to her talking points. So what T is saying, Elvis, whenever I hear an adult man, especially an adult black man who supports, who will sit here and say he don't know what a woman is, who supports men playing in female sports, what else do you support, Elvis?
Yeah.
I don't even know where you got
Open
You're
borders,
misstating. You're misstating my
open
points,
borders.
Donis. I
That's what you
clear.
said,
I clear all
Elvis.
those points.
Elvis, that's what you said, Elvis. That's what you
No,
said.
I told you. I said males and females. They're different. Those are genders. When it comes
Okay.
to a woman, it can be subjective, and I explained to you based on. Hold
this
on.
nigga's
Nah,
a
bro,
Based
clown,
on
man.
he's
Why you
playing
gotta
these
do
Oh
that?
games,
man,
bro.
because
This man playing
listen,
games,
you
bro.
gotta
Man, this
understand what I'm
nigga's a
saying. If you're
clown,
gonna
bro.
if you're gonna attack
Elvis,
me,
I gotta pass the mic, Elvis. I gotta
Yeah, pass the mic.
No,
pass.
for real, man. Thank
Go,
you.
Clown ass nigga.
go ahead,
Real
Ditso.
quick.
Go ahead, Ditso.
and
No,
there
hold
you
on.
go, Dinus. That's it. That's you right there now.
Okay, go ahead, Ditso. Go ahead, Ditso.
Prince, Black, man, Mike, everyone, buenos dias, good day.
Sí.
It's
¿Cómo
been,
estás? ¿Cómo estás,
coño,
mi amigo?
ocupado con lo de Venezuela, que ha sido un desastre, weón.
Sí,
Very busy
muy
with the
bueno.
Venezuelan issue. But now focusing on because I did have the chance to observe the 35-minute interview, and I don't slack on my homework of analyzing everything that it's going on as much as possible. I'm just gonna say this. One, the approach of the interview at the NABJ was wonderfully done. I consider that finally we start seeing more pressure towards Donald Trump, and hopefully, when Harris got in there, she receives the exact same treatment. A hard questioning.
Ditso, if I can interject real quick, we know that's not gonna happen. We already know they're not gonna have that.
Exactly. To even think that is funny.
But go ahead.
Let's cross our fingers that in many degrees there still are strong journalists versus the charlatans like Alex Jones, who is not a journalist and who has lied his ass off in many ways, and who lost two
Talk about
cases.
someone in the mainstream media, man. Like you are over here pitching,
Alex,
upholding mainstream media
Alex
journalists.
Jones
Are you
is
serious,
mainstream
man?
Let him
media.
finish, bro. Let him finish. Let him finish.
Alex Jones is mainstream media. He built an empire that is considered
Wow.
a mainstream media.
Jesus.
However, if we look at the 35 minutes of the things he said at that moment, he kept on spewing his lies. In my position, even though they were hard, the counter or the cross-examination of his points wasn't sufficient enough. But I understand because of the time restraint that that aspect or that mode had. His position on migrants. Again, the systematic lies in regards to migrants, especially and particularly his points. Oh, they're sending the prisoners, the bad people, etc. That is demonstrably and factually untrue.
That's true. True. That's a lie. That's true.
It actually is true. Actually is
That's
true.
true. That's true.
You're not going to convince us to accept illegal immigration, bro. But go
No.
ahead, man.
It's not the conversation. Okay. the fact is he lied in regards of the why the migration and the irregular migration is happening. He went for his rhetoric, and that's a lie. And that shows to us that Trump has no fucking clue how his 4 years had no clue how to approach us, the other countries in Latin America, that we have been working to reduce that problem. And we've already told them what are the reasons that are happening. In fact, one of the conversations that happened in Venezuela was clear and concise. We told the United States yet again, get rid of the sanctions, because those sanctions are fabricating and aggravating the displacement of Venezuelan people and adding into the political instability that is happening in Venezuela, therefore creating more immigration. And some of that immigration of Venezuelans are of irregular status. We've told this United States for over 15 fucking years, and your country, either Democrat or Republican, is not listening to us. We've already told them, get rid of the sanctions. They're not working for the causes that you wanted to do. Maduro is still in power. So fundamentally, in that example of the lies that Trump repeats, shows to us he's not serious in presenting solutions. He's just wanting to respond into
so out of curiosity, Mike, hold on, please. Mike, please hold on. So then my question is, I would say more migrants are coming from Mexico. Are there, and correct, and please excuse my ignorance, does the United States of America have any sanctions on Mexico?
The Mexico circumstance is extremely interesting because you see that one of the major effects that is creating displacement of people, therefore irregular migration towards the United States, is directly done by the war on drugs and the impact on the war on drugs, particularly after the militarization of that war by the administration of Felipe Calderon, pressured by the Bush and Obama administrations. That is a factual sense that we saw that that period of Felipe Calderon is the main base that aggravated the displacement of people and therefore the irregular migration of people towards the United States. That is one of the major factors that plays a big role in that conversation. So fundamentally, we see two, in fact, we see two different approaches of foreign policy that have impacts directly to Latin America, and both of them result in the same effect. And in the Venezuela case, add into the problems of the war on drugs, also internally into Venezuela, to the facts of the sanction, and you have two factors that play a role into that. Then the third factor is the internal political situation inside of Venezuela for the past 25 years, which has a historical context and has a sociological context, which, yes, we can converse till we drop dead. However, that is not the point right now. The other aspect of the lies that we saw Trump repeat on that interview, his position on abortion. Again, same situational lies that only satisfy.
I got to have to interject. I mean, Trump's stance is he's going to secure the border. I mean, that's his stance. Like, I mean, as far as getting into the weeds, as far as sanctions or whatever, I still believe that's the problem of the country.
Why didn't he secure his border in 4 years? Why his own party stands against those proposals that are being put in Congress that need to be a bipartisan aspect that would give other forms of so-called.
Well, I would say this. I would say the illegal immigration that's going on now, it was nowhere where it was when Trump's in office. But let me pass the mic to Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no problem. So, the whole thing is this is, we're all immigrants, all of us. I'm Sicilian. My family's from Italy. We're all immigrants, but we did it the right way. We didn't sneak through the border. We got vetted. We went through the process, and we did that. And we didn't come in and create crime. But you cannot deny that a large majority of the migrants that are coming in are creating a lot of chaos and crimes. They are. And Trump was right about that. They're sending.
That is sorry.
Okay, I'm not done yet. Yeah, that's okay. And so it is, the crime rates have quadrupled under them opening the borders, and that is true. Look at the flash mobs in New York City, and they're all illegal aliens, all of them. It's not someone that grew up in New York that loves their city. These are people coming in and they're getting $5,000 gift cards, and me and you are trying to pay our rent. Yo, Biden is trash, and if you get Kamala in there, which I don't think she will, I believe in my heart Trump will win. I believe that 100%. If Kamala comes in, it's going to be the same garbage. It's going to be the same exact thing. This country is going down. It's like when the drain goes down like a little tornado, like everything just goes into the drain. That's what's happening to this country. Look at the prices of everything, because we're giving illegal aliens money, free room and board. You know, they're not helping us. They're not helping the Americans. They're helping people that are coming in. And that's okay. It's good to help them and guide them, but not give them more than actually Americans have earned the right to live and to flourish. And that's what I think. I think it's all backwards. I think Trump is going to be a good president. I think he was a great president last 4 years. Is he an imperfect man? Yeah, he is. He's imperfect. He's kind of a jerk sometimes. He is. But he does love the country. He does love the military. And he did improve the economy. That is the truth. Those are proven facts. I don't know where you're getting your word salad from, brother, but whatever you're saying is not correct. It's not true. You know, I'm sorry you don't like the man, but I'm going to vote for the person best right for me and my family. Go ahead, gentlemen.
So, real quickly, if I may respond to his points.
No. Let me pass it to you. Well, actually, let me pass it to Jagoon, and I can pass it back to you. Go ahead, Jagoon. Jagoon.
So sorry, guys. I've just come in. Listening to a good day to everybody. Firstly,
salute, sir. Salute.
Thank you, my brothers. Just in my listening, I do get a bit frustrated with certain points of view, especially those that come from my brothers and sisters in what we understand as African Americans. I always do understand that politics and socialism, when I say socialism, I don't mean necessarily politically, I mean the social societies are quite difficult and frustrations are real. Having said that, I really need people to understand that America is not on its own in much of the issues that you have in the States. The whole world is thatched with moving migrants, populations all over the place. America believes, because it's so big and great, that you may have the greatest number of migrants in the world. But that's just not the case, my friends. The fact of the matter is, there are more African countries that take on migrations from all over the place into their nations. There are war-torn countries in Africa, as you all know, and they have to migrate to other African countries. And guess what? Largely, they're taken in. Largely, it's an acceptance. Largely, this is an understanding that we are living actually in one world where there are major problems all over the world. But somehow, America wants to exonerate themselves and point the finger everywhere. Like the whole lot of you are not immigrants in yourselves. You got there somehow. And yet you want to come to me, the level of the way your governments can play your minds in any way. They can play you. You're not being played. Nobody is stepping out as a human being. Once you want to step out as an African American or as an American, because you're absorbed from being a human being on this planet Earth. This planet Earth is a real place. And because the creation of nations, thus by the European mindset, is so thatched in our minds, we cannot exonerate ourselves from thinking for ourselves. We take on the tropes of everybody else and begin pointing a finger without stepping back and having an understanding of what's going on globally. I'm afraid Americans, African Americans particularly, to my mind, are too myopic in their understanding. They only understand themselves. They don't want to really understand anyone else. And it seems like you're so far away from the rest of the world that you're not playing the game. You're not playing the game. What you want is total authority. And that, I'm afraid, it's just a, it's a dream.
Jagoon, if I can interject. So even in Trump's speech, he said illegal immigration is the problem. But if you come the right way, you're vetted, he has no issue with it. Trump said that. So I'm just trying to, so what's your point?
Well, you see, illegal immigration is the problem. This, again, I'm afraid, is a political thing. Because nobody invited white Americans to America. Nobody invited you people there.
But Jagoon,
no. I'm taking it.
Jagoon, I'm gonna interject. We're past that point. Like
yes, maybe we are past. Okay,
500, 600 years past that point.
Okay,
invited the white man.
I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing to still pull my point. I'm agreeing with you, Dennis. But I'm putting to everybody that whilst nation states are to be respected, the world still functions as the world always has, and people will move, and they're not all going to take your permission to do that. This is just a fact. It's just as it is, and unless we grow up to understanding that, you know what, as a human being, I can go wherever I fucking want. I can go where I want, and nobody, even your government, isn't going to stop me. That's the basic reality of it. That's the basic reality. There's no and ahhing. You can and ah and join the politicians in their backwards and forward, but it's not going to give you any answers, my friend, and it's not going to provide any solutions. So unless you people step back, I beg your pardon, and begin to have original thoughts, because everything I'm hearing is just a thought of somebody else. I've heard it all before. Where's the original thinking? Where is it? Where is it coming from? It's not coming from you guys. I can tell you for free. It's not. I'm listening, and I'm just listening to people barking the nonsense that politicians bark. And politicians are all there to oppress. They're not there to do anything else. They're there to.
So, Jago, let me ask you this, and then I'll let you finish. I'm gonna pass it to Marie. So, currently in Chicago, you have, and New York, you have American citizens, right? I think this is the difference between, we'll say, United States of America versus, Ghana, Ghana and Burkina Faso border, where people from Burkina Faso are coming to Ghana unchecked. So in the United States of America, like, politicians will give resources to illegal immigrants before their own citizens, and the citizens are fed up. So I think that's the problem.
They're not illegal immigrants.
Can
they are illegal. But go ahead, Jago. I'm passing.
They're not illegal.
They're illegal.
Dennis passed it to me. Thank you. You see, Dennis, I won't diminish what you said by saying that it's not a reality that these things occur. But we must still appreciate, whilst we speak to the government, and we must speak to the government, we must appreciate that is the government playing us. They're not doing that because they don't have love for the country, necessarily. They're doing it because they're playing a game. They've got an agenda, and their agenda is being played out. And unless we're watching and understanding what this agenda is, then our critique, or even the way we communicate to the government, is going to be off key. It's going to be off key. I really fear for America and what's going to happen in its near future. With all the wealth and splendor and all the gifts that America has, and there's nobody in the world that would deny it. So, a lot of people would take what my suggestions is as, oh, you're a hater. You're a hater. I'm not coming from that stupid, myopic point of view. I'm coming from a point of view where I'm looking at things as they're progressing, and they're not progressing differently in America than they are in any other part of the world. Largely, they're progressing to doom. However, when we look at America, the level of confusion, racial bigotry, misunderstanding, oppressive and kind of point of view where America stands because we are America.
Jagoon, let me pass the mic. Go ahead, Marie.
Right. Yeah, you haven't understood me. Let me just land. It's not going to take too long.
Okay, you got 20 seconds. I got to pass the mic because I got other people waiting.
All right, bro. Pass the mic. If you don't want to understand what I'm saying, pass the mic.
Okay.
You're saying what we hear on TV every day, bro.
Go ahead,
Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. You are coming like you're on TV every day.
All right,
That's
go
what
ahead,
I'm
Marie.
telling you.
Unmute yourself, Marie.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. So, I'm not voting for Kamala Harris because I don't think she will know how to run the country, and also I don't like the Democratic policies, how they're letting illegal immigrants come in here and just do whatever. Like, I can't go to China or to Europe, and they'll kick me out because I'm not a citizen. So I don't understand why they're letting all these illegal immigrants in. Like, I don't mind legal immigration, but illegal immigration, I don't think that's right. I don't like what they're doing with the whole, well, I don't want to talk about that because I don't want to be rude, but I just don't like the Democratic policies and what they're doing. So no, I will not be voting for Kamala Harris. But also I think that Black people too, we need to create our own political party anyway, because we have different issues that we need to take care of. And that's really all I have to say, to be honest. But yeah, I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. I think she will be terrible for the country.
Okay.
Diners, please permit me 30 seconds. I'm begging you.
Exactly, because she has no coffee.
No. Nebby, go ahead, Nebby. Go ahead, Nebby. Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, or whatever time it is. Hey, everybody. I'm just gonna answer to some of the things I remember people asking before I came on. I'm a starter. First of all, I'm a lifelong New York City resident. I went to college out of state, but I'm a lifelong New York City resident. So one of the questions people ask, first of all, notice how this episode is about the event in Chicago, Illinois, because the convention is coming up and it's going to be in Chicago, and it's Black journalists. So now one of the people up here said, what was a relevant question? Name one relevant question that those Black journalists asked Donald Trump on the stage. First relevant question came from the Harris Faulkner from Fox News Channel. She asked bluntly, and she explained her question before and after. She asked, why did you choose JD Vance? By the way, this is not really relevant, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Did y'all know that Netflix made a movie about JD Vance in 2020? I just wanted I wanted to know if everybody knew that. But anyway, that's a relevant question because you are speaking to Donald Trump. He is the former president, and he is now a presidential nominee. He's the Republican candidate for president. So that was an important question. If you know anything about Donald Trump, his ideology and his policies, why did you choose JD Vance? Out of all of those people, why did you choose JD Vance? Another relevant question that was asked up there was by the lady wearing black in the middle. She asked, why do you think that it's not the same when people are criticizing the law enforcement for having unfair prosecutors protect them? The same way the FBI is unfairly prosecuting him, Donald Trump. And it's a legitimate question. And not only the FBI, but the state of New York, the state of Georgia, the state of Florida, and Washington, D.C. They're prosecuting him, and he had the right to do the shit that he did. It's a fact of life. It's just a fact that he had the right to do what he did, period. And people just don't want to listen to his answers.
But go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead. And I'm going to say one last thing. The African guy, Jagoon, you said, not you, I'm sorry. Somebody else said that these are the talking points that we hear on TV all the time. Well, I'm going to tell you what I watch on cable TV all the time. I watch Fox News Channel. I watch News Nation. I watch Newsmax. I watch Fox Business. I also watch HDTV, but that's another topic altogether. I have registered as a Republican. I have registered as a Republican several times, and I am a New York City resident. And I have to keep on getting booted off by somebody on the voting rolls for registration. It happened in April when we had the Republican primary. I wasn't on the fucking list. I don't know why. And they let me register on site and cast my vote. And then 2 weeks later, they sent a stupid letter. I wish I had the letter to show. They sent a stupid letter saying, your vote has been rejected because the race that you're voting for, nobody is, there's no reason to vote. Nobody is it was a ridiculous answer. It was stupid. So you see what's going on. Okay. And so what I've said is representative of what I'm regurgitating the stuff I watch on cable TV all the time. I just wanted to let y'all know that. And I think I'm gonna quickly say this last one. The crime in New York City. Notice the last crime incident was, if people don't know this one, it's laundromats. That local New York City residents, poor people, go to the laundromat, and it's been happening since COVID. It's been happening actually, and they're getting robbed, and it's very dangerous just to watch a freaking laundry. Okay, these migrants are after us. It's the great replacement theory. I'm a descendant of people who came to this country legally from the Caribbean, from different Caribbean island nations. And one of my grandparents was from a southern state. They want to replace the illegal immigrants. They want to replace us. We're legitimate citizens. It is what it is. And to be quite honest with you, it's not a black and white issue, because there are black people that, whether you want to accept it or not, would benefit off of people like me being voted against, and with this cancel culture. I've been a victim of cancel culture for 20 years. I know all about it. And that's all I'm going to say. The great replacement theory, these cartels, these drug dealers, and these illegal. I grew up in New York City around immigrants, legal immigrants, illegal immigrants. They've been trying to do this to us. That's just
As
what it
long as
is.
that state keeps on voting blue, no matter who, then it's kind of hard to hear them Negroes complain about it. Seriously,
Nebby, let me ask you a question. You think New York's turning red, Nebby?
keeps on voting blue.
They just trying to suppress the black Republican vote.
Complain about it. Seriously.
Oh wow! Go ahead. Let me pass. Others wanted to respond.
Yes. I'm so sorry. All right. I'm sorry for the delay. So yes, they, first of all, like I just said, they trying to suppress. They've been doing this for a long ass time. It's a long time. They've been trying to suppress the black Republican in New York City. I'm only talking about one now. I'm starting to see all the propaganda, because in my opinion, it's propaganda. I've been living in this fucking southern district of New York my whole life. Everybody should know a million years ago that this is the most populous city in the United States, next to Los Angeles. I don't know which one has a larger population. Okay, they have been doing this, and look at California.
Yep.
Look at California.
Yep. But black people need to wake up and stop supporting the Democrats. That's it. Because
there's people out there,
complain about it, but they keep
understand that there's
voting
people out there that benefit off of our failure. And number one, and whether it's malicious or innocent, I'm going to tell you who's voting against my demographic: old people, the elderly. They're voting Democrat. What do you expect them to do? They don't want these motherfuckers don't want somebody like me taking care of them. That's my job, as a matter of fact. I started being a home health aide in 2016. I did it for 6 months. And then after that, my father started paying me to take care of my grandmother. I mean, this is just what I do. Some people, there's different agendas all over the place. There's different agendas. You got to look at, how are these drug dealers, how are they voting? Think about it. These cartels, these people who I don't have to say anything else. I really don't. If you're here in the southern area of southern New York, you see our news. I'm in Long Island right now. If you watch the news, and I'm sorry, Dinus, I don't think I answered your question. So if you want to cut me off, and I'll stop talking, I'll answer the question and I'll stop talking. But if you're here, you'll see how the news is being portrayed.
You were just gonna say you'll stop talking.
But he asked me a question, so I started talking again.
Okay,
You're
okay.
excused.
Let me pass it to Elvis. Go ahead, Elvis.
All right, Dinas, thank you. I appreciate that. I just want to make some clarifications. The policy of the federal government of the United States when it comes to asylum seekers, which a lot of these migrants are asylum seekers. Now, of course, there's some people who enter illegally, but a lot of them are asylum seekers. So they'll have legal entry into the country, and then they will have their case examined if they qualify for asylum. So a lot of these people who are in the country, they're seeking asylum, and it takes sometimes a few months. And when they don't meet their asylum, they're deported. So they're not illegal; they're undocumented until their case can be finalized if they qualify for asylum or not. So I just want to make that clarification. That's the
So
policy of the
now we
United
got
States
to
government.
rebut that because that's the nonsense. So what y'all just heard is the CNN, MSNBC white liberal talking point to gaslight black folks in Chicago, in New York, to accept that you got illegals who are abusing. That's the key word, y'all. Abusing the asylum system to get economic benefits in the United States because they want to come here and stay here for the United States economic benefits. They're not fleeing for anything. They
Exactly.
are just looking for a new, better life. And it's not on the American citizens to sit there and forego their jobs, resources, and safety for foreigners who don't even come over here with the best interest. They just come over here and take. They don't care about the taxes going up. They don't care if resources are pulled out of schools, anything for the native population. They are taking. And yes, and this is what Donald Trump is against. We don't agree with this current policy where you got a bunch of people illegally crossing the border and then running to a border patrol guard because they know that all they can say is just asylum. And also to counter the other lie, a lot of these immigrants are not even showing up for their cases. They're not in, and I think there was a study like a millions of them. They're not even showing up. Like these people are gaming the system. The illegal immigration laws are broke. This is why they keep flooding this country. And we have to be vigilant against people jumping on these panels lying. And just another thing I got to comment on, I think the Hispanic guy said, well, why didn't Trump do anything about the borders when he was in office? You see, like I said, these people expect you to be ignorant. We have a House and a Senate. You need votes. We also need the Democrat votes. Republicans do not have a super majority. So unfortunately, we have to get Democrat votes to get the approved funding on the wall. And unfortunately, the Democrat Party benefits off of illegal immigration because they think that these people are going to come over here and vote Democrat, or when they come over here and have sex and then their children are born, then that's a whole new Democrat base. And they like to pander to the quote unquote people of color. So this is why Trump couldn't all the way get his border wall, is because we did not have a Republican supermajority. If we have a Republican supermajority, I strongly believe that there will be strong laws, because we cannot have people who are not born in this country trying to tell us Native Americans what we should do for them. The hell with them, because they won't allow us to come to their country and do the same thing. And yes, so I'm with the mass deportations. We have to get these people out this country. If you're not going to respect the natives and you're just going to leech off us and then try to gaslight us about our laws, get out of here.
Man,
You
you
know,
sound
because I
you sound like a
agree.
white
I agree.
Republican
That's why I'm
complaining
taking
about
back
black people getting welfare. That's how you sound like.
Well, Elvis, the
No,
difference is the black people are actually citizens of the United States of America. What are you talking about?
There are a lot of
We
people who
pay
are not
taxes,
citizens
right?
who benefit from this country. There are a lot of people who are on green cards. They're not citizens, but they're legal permanent residents of this country. So there are a lot of people who have work visas who are not citizens, but they're legally in
Right,
this
right. So
country.
Elvis,
So just saying if they're
Elvis,
not citizens, they shouldn't benefit. It's not true. A lot of people who are not citizens
No,
pay
Elvis,
taxes.
It costs $10,000 to get a green card. It costs a lot of money.
Hold on, well, Mike, Elvis, you're conflating issues. The point I'm saying is the illegal aliens. Like if you have your visa, if you have your green card, your work permit, that's different. We're talking about illegal immigration, Elvis, that you're trying to pass off as asylum.
No, there are two separate things. There are illegal aliens who are in this country, who came illegally and never qualified for asylum and decided to stay. Maybe they fled and were never deported. That's an issue. They should be deported if they're here illegally. But those who are seeking asylum and waiting for a conclusion to their case are admitted into this country legally until they have
You
been
don't see
deemed.
people
You don't
abuse
really
laws.
Hold
That's why
on,
Trump
hold
said to
on.
stay in Mexico
Until they
because
have
he
been
got tired
deemed
of these illegals
unqualified for
crossing the border
asylum, and
legally.
then they're
That's
deported.
why that was
So
their
I don't want you
Remain
guys
in
to
Mexico
conflict those
policy.
two issues.
Elvis,
It's
why was
different.
Yeah,
there a Remain in
but there's
Mexico
no
policy? Answer
distinction.
that. Why was there a Remain in Mexico policy, Elvis? That's so the illegals won't come over here, crossing the border illegally, and then
Yeah,
becoming in the interior of this country. No, Trump said
right.
stay
How do
in
you think
Mexico
they
and
came
wait,
into the interior
and
of the
then
country?
once
Because
your case is
places like
processed,
Texas
and
and
then you say
Arizona
okay,
put them
then you
on
can come into
buses
this
and
country.
send them
But
to
you don't
quote
get to
unquote
come in and
liberal
start taking
cities.
resources.
We know
Somebody
that
don't
happened.
That's
understand.
ridiculous.
What are you
There's
What are you
no
talking about?
talking about?
distinction.
Hey guys, one mic. Let me pass it to let me
I
pass
want
it
to
to
raise my hand. Nebby want to talk again.
one mic. Hold on. Let me pass it to Marie, then I'll pass it back to you, Nebby, then I'll pass it to E-Man. Go ahead, Marie.
Like, I'm sorry, like I agree with Khalid. And then also we can't just let everyone in. Eventually these people, they're gonna have to build up their country too. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but people have to learn to build up their country. Like, I mean, I know that I was forced to be here. Like, I know I'm American. I know my ancestors were forced to come here, but eventually people need to learn to build up their country. We can't just let everyone come in. I'm sorry.
Elvis, how the process on how you went about coming into America, I'm sure you're in agreement with that, right? You agree with that process?
Yes, I came to this country on a diversity visa called the DV lottery, which my mother won, and we immigrated to this country. So I'm
And you
all for
came
legal
legally, right?
immigration. Say that again?
Yeah. Yes, that means you came into America legally, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so did my parents. If you didn't know, you may not hear it, I don't have an accent. My parents are from Liberia too. So I agree with the legal process on people coming in here. Because these people that are just coming in and coming in at the border, there's some jobs that a lot of blacks need, okay? And they're gonna pay these people pennies on the dollars. So what if it happens to one of our family members, okay, that they just came in here and they decided, no, we're gonna play these undocumented people, we're gonna hire them now, and
No,
forget about people like you,
no, it
like
doesn't
our
work.
parents
It
that came
doesn't
here.
work
Would
like
that be
that,
fair?
E-man.
It
People who
does
are
work like that.
undocumented, if they get employed in a company that you work for, that company is going to be fined heavily because they're employing undocumented immigrants.
Right here in Minnesota.
Man,
You're here in
you go to one of
Minnesota?
these fast food chains, you see these people, you pull up in and try to
Hey,
order some food, they speaking straight Spanish.
Let
Elvis,
E-Man
you're here in
finish.
Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm in
Elvis.
Minnesota. I think we're both here together.
Okay,
Yeah.
so am I. So am I. Do you know that they found about 5 or 6 large companies that have illegally employed a lot of these undocumented workers right here in the state of Minnesota? Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of it, but if they're found guilty of it, they're going to be fined heavily. You know that it's going to be consequences on those companies. That's why most companies don't hire people who don't have. I mean, you've been hired. You know what you go through to get hired onto a job. You got to maybe bring your passport or if you have a green card, you got to bring all of those documents to get hired.
I don't need that. I'm born here.
Right, but you have to show your citizenship, right? Through maybe your passport or whatever it is. So if you have a legal document like a work permit, you have to show that to most of these jobs.
Exactly. But a lot of these companies are hiring people who don't have that.
And
Meaning
they're breaking the law. And they're breaking the law.
Oh, exactly. Then they shouldn't be allowed to come up in here.
Hey, guys, let me pass it to Nebby. Go ahead, Nebby. Then pass it back to
Hey,
you, buddy.
yeah. I just wanted to say something. I think everybody who parents or grandparents, whatever, came here legally, they're probably on here. Okay, first of all, or descendants of slaves of the United States, either or. I think you have to admit that we are enemies, or those people coming over here illegally, there is malicious intent, number one, and it's against us personally. The legitimacy. Come on, Okay, we are enemies. When I watch the news and the Donald Trump is going in on Venezuela, he's saying it's funny. The guy is just hilarious. He's saying I guess the next convention I'm gonna have to have it in Venezuela because they're letting out all of the prisoners and they're coming to America and America is not gonna be safe. So I want to be in Venezuela. He's making a joke. Listen, them Venezuelans are my mother. My grandmother came from Cuba. We're enemies. I'm neighbors. My whole neighborhood is West Indian people. Our neighbors are Guyanese. Guyanese. So Guyana is a country that's next to Venezuela. We are enemies. Those people are our enemies. Understand who we are taking care of. First of all, it's not a joke. The other part I was gonna say I forgot, but I think that just explains everything. We're not friends. This is not. Oh, the other thing I was gonna say is there is in this system there is no distinction between somebody like Elian Gonzalez. Remember him from 35 years ago or whatever. There's no distinction between people coming here to claim asylum and the illegal. I lived this life in New York City. That's what it is here in this city. That's what it is. I could be a home health aide. I am educated. I speak English. They even look. My grandmother. They taught me to speak Spanish. My father was a Spanish teacher, and I cannot speak Spanish. I cannot speak Spanish because of what they did to me. These fucking immigrants. They're here to replace us. They think them jobs. No. I could be a home health aide, and I could be a better home health aide than you. But it's not just the people on the ground. It's the bureaucracy, the healthcare industry, and when I'm talking about what I'm talking about with this issue with the jobs. If you go to Brooklyn and you go to the Jewish neighborhood, what do you find? You find the illegal immigrants or the undocumented immigrants standing on the side of the road. Waiting for somebody to pick them up to do construction work, waiting for somebody to hire them to be their nannies. Those are our jobs. That means I went to college for no reason. And which is why I don't intend to pay my student loan. I promised this government I will never pay my student loan. You don't have to forgive my
You went to college to be a home health aide?
Yeah, you think that's easy? You think it's easy to
I don't think it requires a college
bro.
degree.
You got to look at the point, bro. It's like liberals. Are y'all not understanding her point? How they're taking jobs from black people?
I'm asking.
Like black men should be working
I'm inquiring.
I majored in education.
It's like y'all intentionally ignore the point.
I majored in education, so I went to college actually to be a nanny and a teacher for early childhood development, actually. But who got the nanny jobs? Stop your crap, man.
If you have the qualification, you can get a teacher's job, but you don't have to go to college to be a nanny.
Liberals like to pull you into the weeds when you make a point.
You don't have to go to college to be a nanny or a home health aide. You have to take a couple classes and you'll be fine.
You know why? Because when I turned 18, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had her breast chopped off. I had to leave the house. I had to go to college. I had to leave the house, and I had to go away and do exactly what I did.
What did you major in college?
You don't know me.
You letting these liberals take you off topic. That's what they're doing. You're letting them take you off topic.
Hold on.
I just told you I majored, but this is what this is all about. We're not off topic because you got the pro-Palestinian protesters wreaking havoc on the universities. And we're still talking about the same topic. Fuck them Palestinians. It's the same thing. Fuck them. What they're doing in America,
your blood pressure is going to go up.
They should be in Egypt protesting the Egyptian government, telling the Egyptian government to open your northern border with Israel. They should not be here causing students stress. And it's not about just the Jewish students. There's black students that go to college too.
She's unhinged. I think she needs a break.
But bro, it's like y'all not understanding the point of how illegal immigrants are being hired over the native population. And yes, to a certain extent, not all. I'm not going to say not all come up here to be evil. To a certain extent, they are a burden because if you think about it, we don't need an influx of low-skilled workers. Like it makes no sense. We are getting people who are on the lowest rungs of their society, desperate to come into this country. And I don't see how that's a net benefit to the country, especially when they come over here and go straight to welfare. That is a strain on the American taxpayer. And because they are
Ask
not a
Mike. You think his
taxpayer
parents
and
or his
and
ancestors were
they are
doctors
not a
that came
part of
from
the
Sicily?
system, they are literally just
You think
draining
the
the
people that came
system.
from
That's why
Ireland,
they need to
potato
be
farmers,
deported and
were
get the hell up out of here because
scientists?
they're not useful. They are not
Why
This
don't you
useful.
guy
have
just
any
talking
respect for the
Even got
Republican
black folks
taxpayers?
mad at them.
talking
Why
points.
don't you have any
Y'all are
respect for
Most
the
of
about
the
to
white
cause a
taxpayers?
immigrants
lot
that
of
came
black
into
Let
this
me
folks
ask
country
you
in
a
the
red
early
question.
days
over y'all's
were not
illegal immigration
professionals,
behavior.
and they weren't
Y'all are
skilled
Hello,
flipping
workers.
hello.
black
I
folks
What are
want
you
you to
red.
talking
answer a
about?
question. Why don't you have any respect for the taxpayers? Why
They
don't
don't.
you have
They
any
don't.
respect for the
They don't.
taxpayers?
Exactly. Exactly. They
let me
don't care about
Tell me
the
I'm
natives.
wrong.
And black folks
Tell
need
me I'm
to hear
wrong.
this. They don't care about the natives. So then why the hell should we care about them? They don't give a damn about how much taxes we pay for them. They don't give a damn that they are filling up our hospitals, taking over. They don't care. So why the hell do we care about them? Send their ass all back.
Because this country is a country of immigrants, and their policy crafted towards helping immigrants. That's why.
Yeah, but these immigrants are coming here illegally. And they're
Exactly.
and these immigrants coming here
Not all immigrants are here illegally. There are a percentage of
Elvis, in the
immigrants.
future, Elvis, in the
And
future, these people coming here illegally, they're going to affect your children. Did you think about that?
Exactly.
They're trying to pass this country. They don't give a care. They don't give a shit about us. They just clump us all in the same hole. All of y'all
Look,
black.
E-Man, don't be disingenuous, right? We're both Liberians.
I'm not
We
being
know that there are a
disingenuous.
lot
What
of
are you talking
Liberians who
about?
come into this country on a visitor's visa and overstay their visa, and then they try to get legal status. And we, as the Liberians, we've been advocating for them to get that legal status. Once upon a time, they were illegals, and now they have legal status, and they can stay here and build their families and help support their families back home. So don't be a hypocrite. We benefit
I'm not being a
from our
hypocrite.
people.
Liberians didn't come at a border and just flood this bitch.
It's not
and
about
just started,
border.
doing
Illegal
stuff.
immigrants don't only
I'm
come
for
through
it.
the borders. A lot of people come in, overstay the visa, and by law they're illegally in the country. So
Overwhelmingly,
you
they are
understand that,
crossing the
right?
border, man. Overwhelmingly, they
Our people
are
benefited
abusing
from
the
illegal
asylum
immigration
laws.
too. So we
They
have
are
to talk about
abusing
that. It's not
the
just the Mexicans and the Venezuelans that's coming in.
Elvis, you
Right,
know
it's
you
the
are
whole
making
world.
immigrants
These
as a
immigrants is coming
whole
from
look
all
bad
over the world.
because you
I'm
are
telling you,
admitting
there are
that
legal
y'all are abusing
immigration
the
and there are
system.
illegal immigration. I'm against illegal immigration,
So
but my
Elvis,
people
this
have
is why
benefited
people
from
are
it, and
becoming
and this country
Republicans.
has allowed them to stay here on the
Because
TPS
y'all
and
are
the.
straight up abusing the immigration laws. Just like it's saying,
Anybody
it's
who
like
abused the immigration
you're
laws
like
should be
saying
punished.
F the
But if
system,
you go through
F
the
the
legal
natives.
means to ask for
We coming
asylum,
here to
you're in your
illegally
legal
stay.
right
Can
to
I
ask
have a
for
quick
it.
word
It's
amongst
not
this?
illegal to ask for asylum. I
Can I
hope you
just
know
have a
that.
quick word amongst what's been said?
Go ahead,
You know,
Jabu. Go ahead.
thank you very much. I'm listening very intently, and I understand the emotions that are involved in the discussion that we're having. Please don't get me wrong, but I want you to just take a quick understanding from a point of view of somebody who's living in Europe. In the UK, their level, what they have done globally in terms of immigration of themselves around the world, if you look at it, you would understand how fantastic this immigration of theirs is and how they've closed the doors after they've done their job. Now, the UK, you can go to Canada, United States, most of the Caribbean, Australia, and New Zealand. These areas, they have so controlled to the point that their people are the majority in these areas of the world. And then they closed the door and only allowed what they were allowing in. Meanwhile, me and you, who are of black, we know what it is to be in Africa and destitute, or in the Caribbean or in South America and somewhat out of your own economy where you are. Who by the Western conglomerate hegemony. Now, when you look at it like this, tell me, those of us who are fortunate enough to be brought up in the West, if we take it as fortunate, just put your feet in the shoes of an African. Put your in Africa, living a destitute life. Put your feet in the shoes of somebody in the Caribbean who has a lush environment, but in the beauty of the environment, their economy is being stripped from them, not by themselves, but by the same hegemony I'm speaking of. Now, you tell me that you're not going to legally or illegally get the hell out of that scenario in order to bring.
Jagoon, if I can
I
interject,
need to put it. I need you see.
but
Oh, okay.
Jagoon, just 20 seconds. But you want, I mean, and I want to be very careful. But you expect like African Americans who've been here for 400 years and everything they went to feel sorry for the African and Caribbean immigrant who have their own countries and can't get it together.
No. You see, I'm afraid. I understand your query.
I'm just saying this is the the common response, and I kind of understand. It's like, well, hold on, look at what we've been through, but then you guys want us to like.
Yes, but it's like, who are you asking? No, Dennis, it's like, who is it that you're asking? Are you asking the immigrant who has no appreciation necessarily of that point of view that you put forward? That person, his appreciation is to try and get from death as he may see it. So when he arrives, wait, let me land. Let me quickly land.
Can I interject?
Please let me land, guys. Please. I know that I'm the only one with this point of view on the panel, but just allow me.
I gotta say something. You ever heard the term, you have to put work in? You have to put work in. You ever heard that term? You gotta put your work in.
Fantastic. But if you believe that,
Right.
if you believe,
hold on. African Americans in this country earned their right. They went through all of that pain, all of that suffering, and they earned the right to be Americans. Migrants that come don't have the same rights as Americans.
The only thing is, my brother,
because they put the work in.
my brother, I've understood. It's still my turn to talk. I had to crash to talk. Let me say what I've got to say, please.
Well, you talk a lot, bro. You never stop talking.
Well, I want to just come in, bro. Please just give me a little bit of respect. I know you don't like what I'm saying. You may not like what I'm saying.
Stay focused. You have 1 minute. Stay focused.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but I just want to speak and land my point so you understand me, as opposed to be aggrieved at everything I'm saying. I'm trying to give us a point of understanding that we are arguing amongst ourselves where we have little power. And whilst we're suggesting to ourselves that we're putting this to our government, the government are playing a different game. And I don't know what the problem is in understanding that. You see, the fact that African Americans have been through what they've been through, there's no one that doesn't appreciate it. But there are people that will play games with that. And the people that will play games with that are not the migrants. They are largely the people who have the power to play games with that. And that's the appreciation that I would like for us to come from. We're coming from a point of view of blaming some poor person with a baby on her teeth as she crosses the border in rags. We're pointing the finger at her as though she made a policy. As though she's not coming.
Bro, we're talking about liberals, bro. What are you talking about? We know it's white liberals behind it.
What, Mike? But Jagoon, nobody forced her to immigrate here with the baby on her titty as she crosses through all the way from Venezuela all the way through.
That's to suggest that you don't understand the circumstances of why she's doing it. That's to suggest that she's made an executive decision, by the board to come into America in such a bedraggled way. I mean, that is so, to me, that is a person.
That doesn't mean she gets to become a citizen. It's sad, but that doesn't mean you are a citizen. And also, because you are a drain on the natives, we're not tolerating any more draining on us anymore.
My brother, I agree with you. But what I'm putting to you is that ill of criminality that involves immigration of any level is how America was built. America was built on this crime of taking over people's land and bringing it to a point of, that's what I've explained. But you guys don't understand that this is going on regardless. Well, no matter our words here, it's happening. It's been happening. It's going to continue.
This is the 21st century, though.
There are benefits to immigration. It widens the tax base. It adds to Social Security, which is fastly depleted.
Legal,
there are benefits to immigration, legal immigration that is, which I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, legal.
Can I make one more point really, really fast? Elian Gonzalez. Anybody, y'all need to just go back and do your history on that. Remind yourself. Where does he live? Where does everybody think he lives? I'm gonna make it real quick. He lives in Cuba. He don't live in the United States. As a matter of fact, he's a politician. He's a politician. Remember what Donald Trump did to those 5 boys? What that called, the Central Park 5? One of them became a politician. The dark skinned one became a politician. You got to listen. We got the same arguments you got, and our arguments are more legitimate than yours. You take your ass back. If this country gives you refugee status, that does not mean you need to stay here. That means you need to take it, like the other lady said. I forgot her name, Myra. Take your ass back and fix the problem that you left. And that's that.
Look,
Period, end of story. 'Cause
your
I had to
family
come back
left
home.
Cuba. You probably should go back to Cuba and fix Cuba. What are you talking
I'm
about?
not from Cuba. I'm from New York City.
Well, your
My
daddy's from
parents were
Cuba.
born here. My parents were born here, both of them, and three of my grandparents migrated to this country, to New York City, legally. And one of my grandparents was born in 1905, was born in Alabama. So what the fuck are you talking about? I am back home. I'm back home right now, literally. I'm in West
You come
Babylon.
from an immigrant family. Why are you
I
against
come
immigration?
from an immigrant family. Why don't you
Elvis,
think
you
I'm
should be
Native? Why don't you
respecting
think
and
I'm Native
uplifting black
American though?
women, Elvis.
Why don't you think I'm
I'm
Native
asking you a
American?
question. I'm not calling her names. What are you talking
I asked
about?
you a question. Why don't you think I'm Native American? Why don't you even make the assumption that I might be one of these Native Americans that's from New York, Manhattan Indian, Shinnecock? Why don't you even think
Why
before
would
you
I
open your
assume
mouth,
that?
man?
Unless you tell me you are, I'm not going to
I don't
assume
have to
anything about you.
assume it. But who was the one that was criticizing me for going to college to be a home health aide? Who was that? Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. You don't need a
That was
college degree to
Elvis
be a home health
devaluing
aide. That's
black
what I was
women
trying to
because he
say.
got on here and told us to not
Why?
devalue black women.
Like,
Hold
didn't
on, hold on. One
Wait,
mic. Let me hear
Jimmy.
Marie. Go ahead, Marie. Go ahead, Marie. Go ahead,
Swear
Marie.
to God,
But
bro, this dude is
see,
beyond
why do
funny.
people think that we hate Africans or Caribbeans just because we're against illegal immigration? We're talking about illegal immigration. I'm for legal immigration. I don't care if my African or Caribbean people come over, but it has to be legally. I can't go to Nigeria
Why would you?
and
Yeah.
no, can I please speak because I've been very respectful. I can't go to Nigeria and they give me citizenship and all this stuff. So why can't everybody else come in illegally? And people should come in legally. So I'm against illegal immigration, but I'm not against legal immigration. And it's not that I hate, because I love my African and Caribbean brothers and sisters, but I'm just saying, we can't just let everyone in. And if you're coming in illegally, I'm sorry, you need to go back because I'm
Even
sorry. I
illegally.
mean, I'm not telling you, but you just need to go back if you're not coming here if you're not coming here legally. So that's what I
And,
have to
and,
say.
and the thing is,
Can I
and the
quickly
thing is, they
can I
are
quickly pose
making
a point
Trump
of view?
supporters because what these immigrants who are legal not understanding, when y'all defend illegal immigration, you are making more people more hardline against immigration because it's like
Who's defending illegal immigration?
because it's a disrespect
I'm
to the
not.
country
I
that you weren't
explicitly say
born from,
I don't
that you're
support illegal
telling the
immigration.
native born citizens to just deal with it, and y'all are supposed to be some free country. Like, if I came here legally, I would listen to the native born citizens, and if they're like, you know what, they are against illegal immigration, then I'm a side with them. But to gaslight them and say,
Naturalized
oh,
citizens
these
also
people
have a
are
right in
illegal,
that.
it's just the
It's not only about
what did
natural
you
born
say they
citizens.
is?
Yeah, it
It's
is.
asylum seeking. What are you talking about? Trump had the remain in Mexico policy. Why? So that people would not
He
abuse the
arbitrarily
asylum
made that,
system.
and it was
Like,
rescinded
we're
by
not
Biden.
listening to you anymore, bro. And this is why, bro, the moment you turn black people against you, you're done. Because y'all are creating a situation where black people who voted blue no matter who are sick and tired of this, and they are going to give Trump a chance. And that is going to go way against the immigrant cause. It's like y'all don't even care. Black people are saying, stop taking our resources. Stop closing our schools. Stop. Why are you giving them free housing, not us? And then your answer is to shut up and deal with it. These are asylum seekers. What are you talking about? If we
When
did
in the
that
future
in
it's
your
going to
country,
affect
we
his
would probably
children.
be dead.
Can I?
It
He
doesn't
asked
change the
himself,
fact that
why
they're
would
asylum
these illegal
seekers,
immigrants
and these
be
monies are already been
robbing
allocated for
laundromats?
those
Why would
purposes.
they
I mean,
do
you don't even
that?
understand how this government works.
This shit is crazy, bro.
But hold on. What, can I,
Go
listen, I
ahead,
actually want to
Black.
piggyback.
Go ahead, Black Lion. Go ahead, Black Lion.
Okay, I actually want to pick
Hey,
up both
Dynasty, I've
Lynette.
been asking to get on, bro.
Okay, to real after Black Lion, you can go. Go ahead, Black Lion.
Okay, here's the thing. Listen. Okay, honest, like I want to piggyback on Nebi and what and T. Khalik said, and let me add my perspective. She's from New York, and I'm from California. Okay, I'm for me personally, to be bluntly honest, I'm a counter against immigration entirely to a serious degree. Why? because the legal immigration and the illegal go hand in hand. For example, go on Statistics Department of Labor in California. White unemployment is 5.2. Mexican unemployment is 5.4. Do you know what African Americans unemployment in California is? 7.3. We are the highest unemployed because of a massive immigration issue. It's a big issue here. And here's the problem: when a lot of people come to California, they lead. We all know, like Khalik said, they abuse the rules and immigrate in the borders because they have the child here. He's considered a citizen, makes the parents damn near citizens themselves because the child was born here. Here's the other issue. Okay, and let's say he gets a legal job like at McDonald's or whatever, just start somewhere, right? Next thing you know, there's people from that same community, like in Mexico or Venezuela, whatever, they come in illegally. Do you know what they do? You can go to LA and see this. They literally hire the illegal immigrant because they're from the same country. They illegally hire their own on top of white people hiring them. That's what they do. So if you work at McDonald's as a cashier, they're hiring a illegal immigrant from their family or their country along with them illegally. So they keep you twice as out. And this is what they're not talking about. They literally help the illegal help the illegal. And this is done on a massive scale. And that's why a lot of African Americans in California, which I live at, it's horrible for black people. It's horrible. You can't get a job literally at all, especially as a teenager. My first job wasn't in California. My first job was in New Jersey at 22 years old. Black people right now are literally economically and racially politically struggling. And on top of that, no one's talking about this. A lot of the Hispanics, especially they dominate in Los Angeles County in California, they are acting just as racist and just as bourgeoisie as the Caucasians that we say in California. They play the same shit. And when me and some other black people have been calling this out for years and try to get some of the black people on board, even the elders, a lot of them will disagree with us or be too scared to fight. Because like I said, a lot of them have that Democratic illusion of inclusion mindset. And I tell them, what benefit you guys got from this? You guys are the most employed. We have the highest crime rate. They're literally damn near economically taking over because they literally get birth to more children or the ethnic group in California. They're taking over. See, it's on a massive scale. And there's nothing.
Hey, I text you. Am I picking them up or what's going on?
And this is not.
Dinus, your mic is open. Your mic is open. You got to mute, Dinus.
And give me the whatever.
Let me tell you.
Dinus, okay, there you go.
And on top of that, it's happening all over, especially in the black areas. And no one's talking about it. The illegal immigration, the legal one, literally go hand in hand as yin and yang. That's the problem.
Can I quickly agree with you on that point of
so Black Lion, you're against
No, hold on. After Black Lion is Terrell. Go ahead, Black Lion. Go ahead.
Let me make this point. And you guys, and a couple months ago, when a lot of the black people from Chicago was calling this out in their own community in Chicago, they mentioned LA particularly. The black people there on the mic said, "We saw what y'all did to LA. We saw what you did to South Los Angeles, Compton, Inglewood. We saw what you guys have been doing, and you're bringing that shit here." I'm disappointed in my black community because they ain't doing this in the white areas. They ain't doing this in other communities. They're doing it specifically in black areas, particularly. They could put them in Kansas, Montana. They could get with the most empty cities in the country, but they're not.
No, they're not going to do it.
In the most black-dominated cities where African Americans need jobs most. That's why a lot of influx for African Americans in California are going to Texas and Vegas. Because they said we can't get no jobs in here. We can't get proper housing here. They're literally playing the same racial cards, but no different than white people when it comes to hiring black people.
Hey, Black Lion, let me pass it to Terrell.
Yeah,
go ahead, Terrell. Go ahead, Terrell.
I don't know, as y'all might see, I'm a passport bro. So I see this. It's a problem. I actually like Venezuelans. I've actually been I've been dating a Venezuelan for like 4 years. Out of
Is
Colombia.
she legal, bro? Is she legal?
Okay, let me. Okay, that's a nice joke. Cool. No, she is not in America. She is still in her country. Hey, she's in her country. And you know what I do? I go down there where my American money is longer and stronger. Okay? So, oh, and yeah, I definitely plan to go to Africa where my money will be longer and stronger. Okay? Where I am the man and I am no longer a black man. I am an American. So I got to tell y'all like this. Oh, and I recently did my DNA test and I'm from Nigeria. I'm actually Nigerian by way of slavery. Okay? So
you want to come to Nigeria with us on Sunday?
you're leaving this Sunday, brother?
Yeah, bro.
I would love to. You know what I'm saying? I can hit. I'm done working after Halloween. So after Halloween, holla at me. You know what I'm saying? Halloween to March, cool. I don't do nothing all winter but travel, and take advantage of my. I'm not seeking citizenship in these countries. If you understand what I'm saying, because here's the one thing I will let y'all know as a passport bro, we do have the greatest country in the world. We do have the greatest country in the world because these other places, they're not free. My lady and other friends are showing me what's happening down there in South America. What happened down there in Brazil? Brazil was like my first major trip, and that was back in 2015 when they used to have that crazy president, and he used to actually shut down the whole country. So I know what it's like when they say, "Oh, Trump is bad." No, Trump is good. Compared to these other dictators, Trump ain't nothing close to a dictator. Y'all, imagine this. Imagine a president shutting down the internet so that you can't organize yourself. We're just
Yeah.
too fucking lazy in this country.
Yeah, that president
Black,
was Jair Bolsonaro. That's his name.
yeah, in Brazil. Oh, what was his? The other one. He had a really cool name, Jappy or something. But anyway, I was dating a Brazilian lawyer. You see what I'm saying? Like, bro, go where they picking you. Anyway, so I gotta tell y'all this. These Republicans, yes, some of them might be racist. Most of them don't really. White folks don't really give a fuck about us. I live in Fargo, North Dakota. Fargo, North Dakota. I ran into my first Venezuelan a month and a half ago. My man could speak no Spanish. No, sorry, no English. And I started speaking Spanish to him. Know what I'm saying? Like they here and they're not going nowhere. Good luck trying to get them out the country. Good luck. They're gonna start again, they're gonna outbreed us because black women and black men are divided. We saw this with Ice Cube. We saw this with Ice Cube when he talked to the Queens. The Queens. And this is the problem. So we are defeated. And they are, and guess what? She's right. They are your enemy. And they are gonna, and they're organized. And that's the one thing I understood down there. Color, they don't look at at color. And when I'm in Colombia and I'm in Venezuela, in Brazil, they don't look at color. They look at we are Venezuelan. So they're united. It don't matter if he got blue eyes, blonde hair, and the other dude is this chocolate, as whatever. It don't matter. They're Venezuelan. And they're gonna let you know that. And that's why we're losing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. It's funny because a lot of people misunderstand people's race, and people look different, and but the good point I think someone else made earlier is that it's funny that African Americans from Africa will be, looked down upon as American African Americans because it's a different in culture. I think it's a different in culture. It's a culture difference, but you're still the same family. But
There's
it's
no
just
such thing as African Americans from Africa. There's African Americans and
I saw
there's
that was a very
Nigerian
odd
Americans
phrase.
or
That was an odd
Yoruba
phrase.
Americans.
Yeah,
okay, thanks.
that was funny.
Very confusing, but very odd.
You can teach Mike. He's not black. You can teach him if you want to teach him about black culture and how
Well,
people
it's okay. No,
identify.
it's okay. It's all right. He has to jump in every 10 seconds. But the thing is that, people from the same race shouldn't look down on each other wherever they're from in the world. Because you're all family. That's my point. But
Yes,
there
sir.
are divides in people that look the same, that came from the same place. It has to do with education, entitlement, and things like that. But at the end of the day, we're all family. We're all from the same. Like in Italy, right? I'm Sicilian, right? And you have Italians that are from the top. they look at us as less than them, but we're the same bloodline. So it's because Sicily has Moorish blood.
There
We're
you go.
darker.
That's what it is. It's got that
Fantastic.
darker blood in there. That's why
My
they.
brother who's speaking now, I don't know where you're from, but what you said is so on point. So on point. And I really would like for us to engage in this level of this is one world. As much as we understand there are different countries, this is one world. And believe me, whilst me and you may want to separate and have all these fractions, the Western hegemony know clearly that they're playing the game of one world. So from where they stand in Europe, they have gone all over the world and done exactly what they want in order to organize us. And then we have somehow bought into this organization to the point that we are frick-a-fracking amongst ourselves. And it's quite appalling when you're hearing it, because we are the same bloodline. The person who is an African American for 400 years and the African who now recently comes in for the first 5 years, to disrespect him and to disregard him in such a way is you're disregarding your blood. And this is exactly how it happened through slavery. As soon as the chip came,
Not necessarily.
wait,
We're
let me
not the
land.
same
Please
bloodline.
let me land. Just let me land.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
During slavery, those who were already slaves in America, the very next ship that came into Africa, and they were seen Africans for real. Those who are Americans for the last 100 years would now look at these Africans and begin to abuse them. And within that abuse, they now buy into, after some generations, they now buy into the American concept. And then they would repeat the same thing that was done to them to the person coming in next, not knowing we are all being oppressed in one way or the other. And this is the trick. The trick is right now in the globe, in this globe right now, where Black people are positioned, in Europe to a certain degree, in the Americas to a large degree, and in the Asian Pacific to a very much degree as well. Many of us are down there. We need to understand that because we're playing a global game, we are actually globally well positioned. And within that positioning, we have to find power in it. If we find power in it, then the globe is ours. That's the game being played. The
Jagoon,
frick that we're playing
Alliances
here.
should be built on mutual
I'm a new
interest,
speaker. I'm
not
a new
on
speaker.
bloodlines.
I'm a new
All right,
speaker.
fair enough.
Guys,
Fair enough. We
let me
continue.
pass it to Shaw. Then we're gonna close out. Go ahead, Shaw.
All right, so I agree with a lot of what Jagoon is saying, and here's some questions that when we get to, we can't answer. At what point does a Nigerian American become an African American? That can't be answered by African Americans because
The
then
the
there's
easiest
a
way, my
consistency.
brother, the easiest way to answer it, my brother,
Let me finish,
I
Jagoon.
beg your pardon. It's a quick question, a quick
No, Jagon, let him
thing.
finish, bro. Let him
I
finish.
beg your pardon, man. I really beg your pardon.
Let him finish, y'all. You know, it's gonna take
So
you. You gotta quote it. Go ahead.
that question is hard to answer because that then it would bring the question of at what point when we came from Africa did we become something other than African or something other than Yoruba or something
That's
other
the
than
answer.
right.
That's the
So
answer.
and
The
yeah,
answer
that
is that we are African first. If we recognize ourselves as African
Jagon,
first,
let him
I'm right
finish.
there with you,
nah, man.
Jagoon. I'm
Keep
right
going,
there
man.
with you. I'm right there. So those are questions of identity and understanding. But what you have said many times, Jagoon, and other people know is that we have to engage in education that will change, that will educate and form our cultural, historic, connection. That is the crucial thing. And understand politics, understand all of these things. Some of the things we forgot about our history. We forgot a lot of the stuff that we have done in our history that if we knew, we wouldn't say stuff like if it wasn't for the Europeans, we'd still be in the Middle Ages. This is what young Africans, Nigerians have told me. A young law student from Uganda, a girl, she was being interviewed. She said the same exact thing a young brother told me, Idoma brother told me. So I'm saying those types of statements will be easily changed through an education. And if we don't take that serious, then we will be trying to engage these revolutions and it won't have any longevity and substance behind it because we don't have that political education. So that's one thing. And as a Californian, growing up there, living there for 50 years, around 50 years, right? It is not the place for African Americans. And that question of employment is complex. It's the same question all across the country where we are. We don't want to do picking fruits and working at McDonald's necessarily when we can get
Absolutely.
public assistance that will pay us as much or more as working 2 little jobs at McDonald's and security guard job. We're not going to do that. And what's happening is that where we could be educated to be working in the tech industry, that's not happening. And we're not at the forefront of putting our own self-determination at the forefront of that. And that's the part where I see Pan-Africanists and Afrocentrics more so in the forefront of procuring our own education and trying to be, doing these things that give us economic independence. We're more at the forefront. So I wanted to just end and say that we are of the same, family. We're the same historic family, but we'll never say that if we don't understand who we are, where we are, and what time it is. Thank you.
If your interests align, we can have alliance.
The last speaker that spoke, I
Do
thank you
African,
for what you have said.
continental African interests
What
and
you
Black
have said.
American interests
Sorry,
align, Sha?
bro, can I quickly just comment what's been said? What has just been said is again of fundamental importance for us all over the world. The capacity that we need to build within ourselves to make ourselves a capacity is what is at question and at issue. If we are not buying into the fact that positionally, globally, we are in a perfect position. Capacity-wise, we have to build. We cannot build our capacity as global peoples when we're breaking each other down in the way we do regularly. If we, the answer to your question, my brother who spoke first, just before me, is that if we come from the paradigm, firstly, if we can and see and understand what blackness is, then I think we should really.
Well, guys, we're about to close out, but go ahead, Jagoon. You got.
If we answer the question that we are, the answer to your question is that we are Africans first. That would solve a lot of our myopic issues, I believe.
Okay, all right. We're going to close out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Haru. Peace.
Peace.